I'm going to start off this episode of Good Friends, Good Games with, so I saw this movie, right? It's got this actor in there named Ontario Bandanas. And this guy apparently plays a lot of the same roles.
Yeah.
Thank you for turning me on to him, Zenith.
You're welcome. Ontario Bananas is great in Shrek. Great in
Whoa.
Zorro.
So he changed his name? It was Bandanas. Now it's Bananas?
Yes. Ontario Bananas is very good for your skin.
Oh, really? Do
Yes.
tell.
No.
How about Ontario Bahamas? How's that guy?
No! Fuck off.
It is.
I love that one.
I will send Ontario Banhammer to your house.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. Nicely done. It is Good Friends, Good Games. It is episode 33. It's going to be a small group with us today here. We got Morgan, we got Zenith, and we got myself. Dill is off on a work matter, and Everest is out until next month. So I got a question here, Zenith. What color are Ontario bananas?
It's the color of freedom and liberty for was Zorro set in Spain?
I have no idea.
I forget. Maybe
Okay. What are the colors of the Spanish flag?
España.
It's not, it's
that
like
red and
blue.
yellow?
It's red, white, blue, and then it's got the star, right? I think, or am I wrong?
Wait, hang on.
All right.
I could be completely wrong. Feel free to laugh at me. I'm probably completely wrong on that whole thing.
All right. Spanish flag.
Oh, it is red and
is-
yellow.
Red and yellow.
It's
Okay.
red and yellow, and it's got a crown in the middle with like pillars and
coat
like
of arms, yeah.
like a crest.
We are completely uncultured individuals here.
Yeah, you were describing the American flag.
No, I think it was
Yes,
actually. It
yes,
might have
I
actually been the
believe there's some
Texas.
Spanish people living in the U.S., Eric. I'm pretty sure. I checked.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Like,
I think-
yeah, red, white, blue. It's got a star. I'm like, Eric.
Well, Zenith knows my last name. He's seen my last name. I don't think Morgan has, but
Yeah.
it's about
I
as
have not.
it's about as beans as you can get. We're talking Taco Bell beans.
Yeah, Texas. Yes. What was it? The Zorro took place in Texas. It all happened. The whole plot line is how Zorro couldn't get a discount at a Texas Roadhouse.
Nice.
Didn't
What
I
about?
realize we're talking about red, white, blue?
No, that's the one with Ontario Plantanas.
Six.
Ontario Plantanas. I love that.
Plantanas.
Plantanas. I was he said playa, but it was a. I
La
think
playa.
that's a plate, isn't it?
La Playa, that's the beach, isn't it?
Was it? No, I don't remember. I don't
La Playa is the
remember. It's been
beach.
so
You
long.
could tell my Spanish is very, very poor.
Right, yeah. I haven't spoken Spanish in so many years. I forgot like a lot of words.
And then you got Antonio Mas Chanclas. Mas Chanclas. That's a tribute to last week's episode.
La chancla.
La Chancla.
Oh my god.
I know. It's going to be a rough episode today, guys. Like, we might as well get our cheers and our laughs in now because
Yeah.
it's going to be.
I got some Ontario chocolates just for you.
Did you?
Oh, boy,
Did
you
you
weren't
clean
kidding.
them?
Those
You
are really chancla.
cleaned the lawn clippings and dog shit off them. I could see.
What? What?
There you go. That's the name of yours, then.
Chonkla. Dill called it a
He's
chicla. Did
feeble.
you guys catch that last time? Jill called it a chicla.
Cheek claps?
Cheek claps, yeah. Pat
Them
pat.
claps.
When she claps.
Unbelievable. Did you guys got anything exciting going on the past week?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
Yeah.
I had well, I think like the last couple of weeks has been been a lot of fun. Do a lot of fun stream stuff. And then for the most part, no, just been having a lot of fun with streams. So
You do have a new webcam.
Yeah, we have a brand new webcam.
Very nice.
I have which like goes really well with the new green screen that we just got. And then we also have I'm gonna have like a new shelf that I'm gonna be setting up for in the next like week or two, that I will actually, so that way on the next podcast I can decorate the background behind me instead of just throwing up this green screen for you guys.
Are you gonna stick a bunch of waifu dolls up on your shelf? Are you gonna be one of those anime streamers?
Do I look like I have waifu dolls? Like, I could really go for a nice full complete meal, or some life-sized waifu pillow that I get to dry hump every night.
I mean, priorities, you know? Like, I don't know what your priorities are.
Yeah. And from what Kiyokiwi posted in chat, yes, the settings save, because the nightmare of having the Logitech Brio is the settings never saved. I'd have to automatically, even before every single podcast, I would have to manually adjust all of the settings just to make sure that it's meets my standards.
The Logitech, you're talking about the Logitech like camera software, right? The LCS or whatever it was. That thing has never saved a setting in its life of me. It hasn't saved a setting since like the late 2000s. Like,
yeah, it's really I mean, like, I was able to like get as much quality as I could because if you take a look at some of my earlier streams from like around like the second year, like it looked like my face cam was at quality was kind of shit. Like I was either too red or was too washed out, too much saturation, not enough saturation. And it turns out that it was just I wasn't fully optimizing the camera to look as good as it could. And so if you just take a look at streams from like a month ago, like it looked pretty decent, like it looked good, but that's because I was maximizing the quality out of it. But that's because I had to be very particular about my settings. But now that I have this, I mean, I'm still fine tuning the settings and trying to find out the thing. But like I have, like I've applied like a LUT filter, done some color correction filter to try and make it more realistic or closer to my actual face tone. Right now, obviously through Discord, I can't exactly do that, but it looks pretty good. And especially, I love that it looks great in low lighting setting, because like yesterday, I was telling Eric this before we went live. I actually had, I just did almost a full stream without my green screen, and normally I wouldn't be comfortable doing this because I have like a big mess because I just have no space. But I organized it just enough where I was able to like put up my lights behind me and have it in like a low setting, and it looked fantastic.
We're gonna take care of you, Zenith. We can get you some LED lights. We're gonna string them up along the back there.
Actually, I got some LED lights.
Yay!
I have. Yeah. So my friend, she gave me. Well, she's actually my friend. That's the daughter of my landlady, and she's been like a long time friend of mine since I was like 19 years old. So she got me like some strip lights. So I do plan on having them somewhere in the back. I'm just not sure where I want to put them yet, but I'll especially know once we get my new shelf set up.
Okay. We're gonna put some LED lights up there. I'll get you. What else do you need? Oh, we'll get you a disco ball. We'll get you a disco ball.
A disco ball?
Yeah. No one has a disco ball. I think you should take it back, dude. Like, everyone has the same thing. Everyone's got these LED lights. They all have their Twitch name and some like neon sign thing hanging up in the back behind them, right? So we're gonna up
what
again.
You do?
Okay. What do we got?
So after my pre-show, because like my pre-show, the first 5 minutes, I crank out shit like heavy metal and stuff like that. I don't fucking give a shit. But after that, I put on like a retrowave, kind of like 80s playlist. That's copyright free. So what I do So like maybe what I should do is kind of like deck out my background like to make it look like an 80s diner.
Hey,
With, like,
I'm
all,
down
like,
for that.
The funky like neon lights. I would love something like that.
See, I'm down for that. I think you
Yeah.
should go all Miami Vice with it.
Yeah, or just like try and be like Wish.com. What's his name? Dr. Disrespect, but without the filming myself in the bathroom.
Oh my god, I forgot all about that. The literal downfall of V3 was peeing in a filming peeing in a bathroom.
Or what I should actually do is I should just kind of just to mock the fact that I'm like Wish.com Dr. Disrespect. I should get myself like a pretend urinal, and I'll just put up in the wall and like put like LED lights around it.
It's a paper mache urinal. Just put a fucking porta potty behind you in the room.
There we go.
That should be your intro every episode. Just walking out of the porta potty to your desk.
Yeah, and that just like bursts out of the door, and there's like a whole bunch of like just like smoke, and people think, "Oh wow, it's so cool! He's got like a smoke machine." Legit. But I just walk out and I'm like,
"I think this sounds like the greatest I think this sounds like the greatest stream ever."
Yeah,
a Las Vegas bathroom stall.
I would need a lot more room, but maybe someday,
right? Someday, big mansion. Morgan,
but on throne, who needs a throne when I can make my own throne?
More than one throne in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan, you got anything exciting going on?
Not really much, but I am getting ready to do my first proper charity campaign. It's part of like a team side quest. Yeah, so it's like I kind of wanted to do one like shortly after joining, but like I wasn't ready in enough time and had a lot of stuff going on, but that's what I got exciting that's coming up here real soon is that I'm going to be getting ready to do that. I just got to like finalize all the incentives and the milestones and all that good stuff. I also need to get googly eyes.
I wonder.
Order them.
I wonder because obviously what St. Jude time is what, May, right? May?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much could the good people media community here raise for St. Jude, you think? Like if we just threw the pods onto it and just put the charity link up on the Twitch here while we do the pods, how much do you think we could raise? We'll see what happens. I was thinking about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would, but at the same time though, I do know that like for May, I'll be doing my St. Jude with my stream team side quest.
That's just selfish, Zenith.
Well,
let me remind you, your contractual agreement locks you in.
Well, I haven't done anything charity wise with them since like 2 years ago, so I'm overdue.
Was it that long?
Yep. The last thing I did was
Zenith has no contractual agreement.
It was my 2021 St. Jude campaign.
Yeah.
So, because if I don't do it, I'm kicked off the team.
You're kicked out of here too. So priorities.
Well, I'll make my own podcast.
Your own podcast? What
Podcast?
the fuck?
Yes,
Fogcast.
You might as well say Fapcast.
Fogcast. Yes, it's where we walk out of our outhouses.
How about the forecast? Legends of Zenith forecast. Today it's gonna be cloudy. With light sprinkles of rain.
Extra showers, plenty of smoke coming from his outhouse.
Ew.
Dress like a weather girl. Do it. All right. So we got some video game talk we got to go through here. So let's get to it.
Oh, do you want to talk about like the rest of Dill's playlist from like last week?
Dill's playlist from last week. Oh, while I load up the actual document here, I was telling people before chat, or I was telling Morgan and Zena before chat here, how someone almost hit Pow and I on the road today. And basically they cut us off at a red light intersection where we were stopped. And then when the light turned green, they cut us off. And then when we caught up to her and I asked her, was she effing blind? She basically responded with, I thought you guys were parked. So you could take that as it is. And then my response was, who the fuck parks at a red light intersection? So there you go. That was my exciting day today. Other than that, I haven't really done much. Just playing some video games, working, doing the usual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, been an exciting day.
So, like we were like discussing, like the podcast was live on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
Like it was at the very beginning when we started the stream. So, and we were joking around and saying, who the fuck actually would just like sit there at a red light? Were you guys like right in the middle of the street, or were you like off to the side on the right?
No, so it was a 2-lane road. It was a 2-lane road, and then there was a left turn lane. So I say 2-lane road with a left turn. But we were in the right lane, and we were going to make a right turn, and this lady was in the center lane to go straight. So we got the green light, and Pow starts making her way to make the right turn, and this lady went from the center lane and straight tried to make a right turn and almost hit us from the center lane. And then she literally said, "I thought you guys were parked." I'm like, "Who the fuck's parked at a red light like intersection?"
Yeah, because was there like along like a busy street? Because like I do know that like there's certain roads, if it's like a 1-lane road going both ways, depending on how busy the road is, like if it's like one of those like residential roads, like they'll make them wider to make sure that cars can park along the side as long as it obeys the street signs along the road.
Yeah.
But if it's a 2-lane road, you will not see any cars parked alongside the road unless if it's like a downtown kind of like core where they have like those parking meters.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. So like, did this road have like parking meters?
No, this is a major intersection. It's a 4-signal intersection. It's just 2 lanes per direction.
Yeah.
So in California, you make your right turns from the right lane. Like you cannot go from the center to make a right turn. And this lady did that. But the crazy thing about that is the road we were turning onto was also a 2-lane road going one direction. So she couldn't even go from the center lane, make the right turn and to the left lane. Like she couldn't, make the turn into the correct lane. She cut off into Pow's lane. And
so So then, like, basically the road that you're describing, you all couldn't have been parked on that road anyway because you would have been obstructing the traffic.
Right. We would have been obstructing the traffic. We were literally at the stoplight, like car running and everything. Lights on, signal blinker going. Zenith is so confuddled right now.
You had like the blinker light on. Like,
yeah. Like Zenith is so confuddled right now. He's like, what the fuck am I hearing?
I actually have something in my eye, but I'm just like...
Yeah.
I think this lady just absolutely her mind went to outer space, and she's coming up with some bullshit excuse to be like, "Oh, I just wasn't paying attention." Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, had she just apologized, had she just straight up been like, "I'm sorry," you know what I mean? Like I was aggressive by saying, "Hey, are you fucking blind?" That's literally what I told the lady. People, are you fucking blind? Had she been like, "I'm so sorry," I would have recanted my statement a little bit. I said like, "Hey, you got to be careful, right?" But the fact that she just straight up said, "I thought you guys were parked," just to try to make it look like she wasn't in the wrong, that's when I was just like, who the fuck parks on a red light intersection? No one.
Yeah. And then I probably would have retorted back at her. It's like, and who the hell signed off to give you your driving license? A ghost?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, dude. We're talking Southern California. She probably didn't have one. So you know what I mean? And if she ain't got the one, she obviously ain't got the insurance. So, it's bad, dude. Like down in Southern California, driving down here is bad, especially in my neighborhood. When I moved here, and I learned the lesson from this, a very valuable adulting lesson. If you are ever going to move places, guys, look at what the car insurance rates are in that region. Because I got stuck with like a 30% increase just by moving to this neighborhood.
Ooh.
you probably live in a part of California where people think they qualify to be able to drive on the road just because they have just because the sun's out and they have aviators.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yes, you're very, very close. This I found out. I called the insurance company and I was like, "Hey, you guys are jacking up my rate for moving to this neighborhood. What the hell's the problem?" Keep in mind, I left like the central part of LA and came to this quote unquote suburb of LA. So like theoretically, traffic should be less and it should be cheaper, right? The guy told me on the phone, he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but it looks like that region has a high risk of fraud, like insurance fraud." And the median cost of vehicles is high. So basically what they're saying is there's a lot of BMWs, Mercedes and Lamborghinis and all that kind of shit. And the insurance fraud is insanely high. So they just jacked up my insurance rate to compensate for that. So I was like, okay, I understand. And then like I instantly went shopping for new insurance and it got my price back to normal by just switching insurance companies. And I called the guy back and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Catch you later.
Yeah, that sounds kind of stinky.
Would my insurance go down if I moved to Compton? I would say no. Well, it depends on the car also. Like if your car is at a high risk of theft in a neighborhood, specific like Compton, then your insurance would be high. But if you drive a beater that no one wants to steal in that neighborhood, then your insurance will be fairly low. That's all. It's insane how that all works. Anyway, back to video games, the more important stuff. But that was that's been my weekend so far. All right. Start with Morgan. Oh God, we're back to this. We're back to this.
Yeah.
Tell us about Baldur's Gate 3, Morgan. How are we doing?
So I've been in my spare time. I've actually been doing a solo run.
Oh, thank God. So Zenith's not involved in this in any way, shape, or form.
No, I've told him some details about my solo run. It's been an interesting one. It's been an interesting one. I don't know how much I'd be able to share without like spoilers or anything like that, but I basically picked like a certain race and class that shouldn't be able to go together, and I've been exploring the story and it's giving me different results. Like I'm still kind of going on like, I'm still trying to like help people kind of go on like a good path and stuff like that. But it's definitely presented some challenges because of the character that I created. Well, that too, actually. So
yeah,
it's
you said that your who was it? Your vampire boyfriend is fucking evil.
Yes. I basically confirms that in my solo run. He is straight up evil.
Okay. What makes him evil, Morgan?
Let me see if I can say this without revealing spoilers. So basically, there's certain things that you can do that he's apparently kosher with, but if you go out of your way for certain things, then he's kind of like, But if you do some things that people would kind of normally raise an eyebrow at, he's like, bravo, basically.
Yeah. Basically, if you have like a whole bunch of options and then one of them is beat the shit out of someone who's like poor and homeless, he'll be like, ooh, things are getting fun. I love you.
Yeah.
Does the character model look like Zenith?
Wait, who? What?
No.
Oh.
Does the evil devil boyfriend look like Zenith?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like letting out some regression and, like...
It is.
No.
Should I reveal who it is? Because like it's a dude that's literally on the box cover.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Jeff Goldblum? Is it Jeff Goldblum?
No. It's Astarion. That's he's the guy that voiced one of the guys in Detroit Become Human.
Kamsky, I think.
Yeah, Kamsky.
Right, let me get I'm still playing this game here. I'll jump in with
Kamsky
Morgan.
and He did two characters in Detroit Become Human. He did Kamsky, and he also did the asshole detective.
Guys, this is the one that looks like Jeff Goldblum.
But with white hair.
No, Jeff Goldblum has white hair now.
Does he? Last time I saw him, he had like dark hair.
Oh my god!
In Jurassic Park, like 93.
Yeah. That's the last time I saw it was in Jurassic Park.
Jesus Christ, no. Oh, he's the voice of Heisenberg in Resident Evil 8 too. But yeah, look at this guy, guys. This guy totally looks like Jeff Goldblum. Hold on.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm fucking the Jurassic Park?
Or I have a gift for you, and I'll share it.
Take everyone, take a look at this right here. Everyone in the chat can take a look at this here. If this don't look like Jeff Goldblum, I don't know who does.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan, is this you?
Huh? What?
Put in live chat.
Okay, let me see here.
No!
Is that you with your vampire boyfriend?
No! It's not me.
Can you do? Oh, we can't do like GIFs as like the podcast thumbnail.
Unfortunately,
I would have photoshopped Morgan's head on this.
Yes.
I mean, you probably could take a screenshot of a still of it and then do that.
And I'll give Jeff Goldblum gray hair like his, or we'll just put like a Starian's face on it.
Yeah, we'll just.
That's funny.
We got this. I will make this happen.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I can't copy.
It does kind of look like him.
I can't copy this link. What the fuck? All right, here we go. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan and her devil boyfriend.
Take a look at that. Take a look at that, guys. It's green.
Yeah, good stuff. I knew it, dude. I think I even said it in when we did our playthrough, which you can catch on YouTube, by the way. That dude looks like Jeff Goldblum. I could have sworn I said it.
I think so. It sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I know, dude. Okay, so he's the devil boyfriend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got going on with it?
So honestly, I haven't really played very far into that playthrough just yet, so I don't know exactly what all the character that I chose is going to affect. But I have seen some interesting differences early game versus like the other playthroughs I've done before this point. And I'm trying to figure out what can I share that would not be a spoiler of it. I think I shared some of it with Zen. Maybe you might be able to like help.
So what I will say without spoilers is like it is very impressive like how like little small details of making sure your character is like a certain race, certain class, or even like a certain type of background can drastically like give you like more like paths to choose in your playthrough. Because for example, with my character, I found like there's so many options for a paladin that open up to you where you try and like follow like a path of righteousness, and it's like, don't worry, I'm here to help, I'm a superhero. And whereas with Morgan, it's like, I'm just gonna I can beat the shit out of you and it won't even matter. Or she'll have like the option to because you also, because your secondary class is what is it, sorcerer, right?
Yes.
So that also gives her a whole bunch of like magic class options where you could use your knowledge of the mystic arts to try and like change certain interactions with people to see if you can get like a more favorable like what was it? Right. There's a thing where Morgan and I are at. I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what it is because I don't want to spoil them. But when I talked to them, I was not able to get anywhere. They told me to fuck off. But Morgan tried, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, come on in, bring your friends in." I'm just like, "What the hell? That was easy."
So I've noticed this too. So I'll jump in with it because I am also doing a solo run of the Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm also doing a solo run of it. I've been playing it, in the evenings here, and I've been doing some time on the Steam Deck with it, which it runs pretty damn good on the Steam Deck. I'm impressed.
Yeah. What class are you playing with?
So I decided to go with the fighter.
Okay.
A human fighter. And I really upped the strength factor, and I've upped the I think it's the thief one where you're kind of like persuasive to an extent. And then I forgot what I think I had some intimidation in there. I forget.
Intimidation is something to do with your fighter, but what is it? Persuasion is like is it like a bonus from your charisma stat?
Yeah. So I took screenshots of what I did. I'll get them off the Steam Deck, and I'll share them at some point here.
So what are you? So who do you have in your party?
So I've gone through that whole section where you get off the ship, and then now I'm on, quote unquote, whatever the biome is where the ship lands. I picked up Jeff Goldblum.
Okay.
I picked up Shadowheart. I was able to free Shadowheart from the.
My wife.
I don't fucking trust her. She's giving me hooker vibes. Like,
I didn't see that coming.
She gives you hooker vibes, right? Like, she's sweet talking you or whatever, and then she's gonna screw you.
I am appalled. Oh,
I mean,
that's because that's what you go for.
Yeah. She's actually not that. She's actually not that.
What? Not a hooker? Is that what? Oh,
no, she's not a bad hooker. Okay.
I was trying to bang her for like the longest time.
Well, maybe you didn't have what you wanted.
Oh, now I do.
Okay. Anyway, at least it's not a bear. So anyway, I don't know how I feel about Shadowheart yet. She gives off like hooker vibes, I'm telling you.
Morgan almost fell for that, but that's because, her I think her character's sexual appetite, just has the bare necessities.
Oh my God. So
no,
so to continue here, we got Shadowheart. And then I have Jeff Goldblum, and then I have this homeboy Gale, who I think was the one stuck in the portal.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because I built myself a little campsite at that what do they call it? Where you pulled the guy out of the portal thing. What do they call them?
Yeah.
Waypoint?
Waypoints or whatever. Yeah. So I built a little camp there to rest for the night. And I was talking to Shadowheart, and I was basically talking shit on Gale while Gale is standing right next to me. And I'm like, this is great.
Wow.
I'm like, this is cool, right? And then anyway, to express what Morgan is going through here, or maybe it was using it. I missed who was talking about it. But you go up into the point. So now I'm up into the point where you get to the chapel. And I tried to convince the guy to open the door in the chapel. And I picked the wrong character to do it. I picked Jeff Goldblum to try and convince him to unlock the door. Because the Jeff Goldblum character is kind of like an actor, flamboyant kind of vibe, I'm guessing, right? Mm-hmm. So I was trying to get him to pull this performance off to be like, hey, da-da-da-da-da, build his trust so he'd open the door. And he just straight up rejected me. My roll failed.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had used my actual fighter character with the high intimidation or whatever, or persuasion, I probably would have rolled a high enough number to unlock this door.
Yeah. With Astarion, I find that even though he's like very agile, actually somewhat surprising amount of strength and constitution, but he's got no charisma because he just takes pleasure in watching people suffer.
Right, and that's an interesting.
Yeah, him for dialogue is the worst.
Yeah, it's an interesting
unless
character.
you're talking straight to him.
It's an interesting character. Now, what I find fantastic about this, and this is completely different, and I know we did a playthrough, as a group here, but when we're doing that playthrough, you're not really quite focused and immersed in the game. We're chatting, we're having a good time, we're laughing about it, we're almost, we're making a fun time out of the thing. So we're not really focusing on what we're doing here. Whereas now that I'm by myself, I'm kind of focusing on every decision I'm trying to make here to an extent. But I realize, and I think this is one of those brilliant things about it, is once that guy rejected opening the door, I could not use a different character to do it. Like common sense would be like, oh, let me try. And then the next guy comes up and tries to convince him. But no, this dude
almost as if like it never happened. But no, they remember.
Yeah, they remember. And I think it's brilliant. So then from that point, I had to go like arrow the pillar, and the pillar fell through the ground. I have to go underneath. What I am finding is the difficulty of the game is fairly high. If you do not understand how to build the party correctly or how to utilize the party you've built, because I'm getting one-shotted in a lot of this chapel run, and it's getting kind of frustrating.
Yeah, did you level up in characters?
They've leveled up to an extent, but and I haven't gotten this far into it. But if they level up, do they get a point that they can go and level up? Like you can allocate to a characteristic or something?
So when you level up, you click on it, and it'll give you like, so depending on like on which class you're leveling up, like obviously like fighter for like the first like 2 levels, like the level ups are just pretty standard. It's like, hey, you click this, your HP increase, congratulations. Now move on. Whereas other characters, especially like if they're like magic classes, they'll give you like all these different skills or spells you can like add to your repertoire. And then there's different like skills and feats that you can add to your character. I have not forgotten, you shitheads.
No, of course not. You can catch that clip on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Exclamation point, jazz. Social media.
So yeah, so you can add all these different things to like further customize your character and make them stronger. So yeah,
you know what,
well done. Go. You were gonna say something, Morgan.
I was gonna say though, Zen's explaining all of that, and I actually in my playthrough, I'm still within the first act. I actually did everything completely backwards.
Not surprised.
Well, here's the funny thing. I ended up taking on the main mission of Act 1 at pretty much a level 4 or something, or less. I forget. And I actually made it through it, but it definitely required a bit of strategy because I was very underleveled. Now I'm doing like all the other minor quests before I finish this act.
Yeah, because I thought about it too, and I was like, oh, maybe the fighter class is a rough class to actually do because I have to get close for combat. Like I have to get up close to them to do attacks. Whereas I think it is Astarion where you can, he has a bow and arrow, so you can do ranged attacks, which salvage that character a little bit more and keep him out of trouble. And it's a nice. It's a nice way to handle combat.
Yeah, I will say that at the very, very beginning of the game, you need to like baby characters like Gale and Astarion because they're very squishy. They don't have very much HP. Like in a couple of my playthroughs, I had Gale with me, and like he was dying all the time. Now though, it's not like I don't have to look after them as much, but that's because like because like I have a Shadowheart in my class. And my paladin character is like really, really tanky. And I'm talking about like 100 HP plus HP, and everyone's got like half of that. But everyone just like you start like adapting a little bit where even if the fights get really, really dicey, like you just seem to have this like a tool or skill that kind of like gets you through. And where I find like the beginning of the game sometimes is harder. But at the same time, like when you get later on in the game, you already have like developed strategy. You have the skills you want. Like you learn like an awful lot about the game because like I didn't know very much about the game or much of D&D when I first got into this. But now, like the cog wheels in the head are turning, and I'll be able to get us out of these really dicey situations where I think we we were doing one dungeon where we were surrounded by like 30 enemies. There were so many of them. And yeah, I was just like, all right, go in there with my paladin character by yourself and just fucking just destroy everything. All right, here we go. But even then, requires strategy. Holy shit.
So I do like I like the concepts of how the decisions you make in the game affect the routes you can take to get through the segments of the game. Like I see that loud and clear, and it's pretty interesting how it's done. One thing I do have critiques of, though, is I do notice some of the decisions you make in the dialogue concepts of the game don't really have much an effect on the dialogue that comes out. Because I noticed this too, because I loaded a save after dying and I tried a different set of dialogues. I think it's when when you land on the biome or whatever. What's the place called? The first place you land? The Grove, yeah.
Yeah, so you made it to the town area, right?
Yeah, so like you pick up, I'm in the beach area.
That's the Sword Coast Beach or something like that? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, something like that. The beach area, right? And you know, after the ship has crash landed on the beach area, you go to pick up, Shadowheart and like wake her up, but you notice that she has like this artifact. One segment, I just picked her, I woke her up and then had the conversation with her, and it led us to continue the segment of the journey there. The other time I loaded a save after dying, I went and I tried to take the artifact. And then she obviously wakes up when you try to take it. But I noticed that the dialogue route, no matter what happens, the dialogue route ultimately ends up in the same place and you progress.
Well, you may think that, but because you chose that, it does have a couple of reproductions, and especially it affected your relationship with that person.
Yeah.
So,
but it turns right back around. She'll remember it, but it tends to turn right back around because I noticed the segment I said where it's like, okay, let's go and stick together.
Of
it
course.
Literally tells you she liked that, where I feel like she'd still be pissed.
However, though, based off the decisions you make with her, that will actually definitely influence something major later in the story. I'm not going to say exactly what it is.
It's early. It's definitely early, and I'm not seeing necessarily the effects of all this stuff yet, but that's one of the first things I noticed. But I did notice the door thing where you can't even do the different character to try to open it. Once you failed at getting that door open, that pathway is locked off.
Yep.
So they do give you, but to counteract that, they give you multiple pathways to get into that chapel, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's been my experience with Baldur's Gate 3 so far. We got a long way to go in the whole thing. We also have our playthrough going, so it'll be a year of going through this game. I think it's a long haul one,
but it's so much fun. So much fun.
Anything else to chime in on it, Morgan, before you continue on your list here?
Well, I should say that since you all were mentioning like race and class, should I mention at least that from my playthrough? Because maybe it might not be a spoiler. Okay, so my solo playthrough I'm actually doing is I've chosen to be a drow, and I should be more specific, a Loathsworn drow, and I'm also a druid. So I can't reveal much more than that because it would go into spoiler territory.
You're a drow.
Drow, I love that. But yeah, anybody who has at least played through some part of Act 1 will have an idea what kind of impact being a drow and a druid would have on the story. Is pretty much what I could say at this point.
What'd you name
so
your
people
character?
Are like, oh, it's you. And it's you. Oh my gosh, I'm confused.
I'll say that I've been... Sorry, what was that?
What'd you name your character?
Namara, I think is what I named her.
Nice.
N_Mara. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
But I'm doing a bit of beguiling. I guess you could say I'm technically playing both sides, but in all actuality, I am going for a good route. But in playing both sides has like some advantages because I'm able to kind of minimize the damage whenever I come in contact with a bad side, because I basically can kind of sneak attack them instead of taking them head on, and that's how I was able to take out like a major quest, was because I did it in chunks so that I didn't get ganged up on by literally everybody at the same time.
Yeah, that's the problem I ran into. Is like I was like, oh, I'm a fighter. I'll just take these guys head on. You can't do it. Like it's literally not designed to do that. You have they give you ways to take out a majority of your attackers to even the plane in some of these dungeons, and it's really cool. It's really well done.
Yeah, you can actually do some really cool things even as like a fighter or paladin that can be kind of stealthy. Like I snuck up and I was like by myself because my entire party was dead. So I was up in like the rafters of a building and I was up above. And what I did is I dropped like a barrel of oil right down on my enemies. And then I set it on fire, blew up everything. And I was just like, and I think I saved the day.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's actually really cool and really well done how they do this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, more to come with Baldur's Gate 3. You will find out more about Erik the Destroyer in future episodes.
Erik the Pussy Destroyer.
No! What is with you today?
As my first move as producer, I fire Zen.
You technically can't do that. But you could literally tell him, you could literally be like, I think for future episodes we need less Zen. You could technically do that, but I don't think you could technically fire him.
No, he's a joy. I couldn't. That's he's really funny.
He carries this show. We need him.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Executive override. He carries this show. He can't do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, all right, and to meet our ethical standards, we have to fire the host of our show. And then like 2 days later, we have rehired the host of the show because we've just lost half our viewership.
One of those like grave mistakes where it's like, yeah, that person's back. We made a mistake.
It's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Very, very well done game. And we'll find out more about it as time goes on here. But great game, really interesting, really like deep thinking that goes into like how you do this, and it's enough to where you do it enough where you'll keep track of what you do, which is great.
Yeah.
So, more of that to come. Morgan, you've also got some. What? Morgan's playing some Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
What did we do to what enticed us to tackle this masterpiece?
Just recently I've been in a bit of a retro mood, so I've been doing like the last time I did Donkey Kong, I did Kirby Superstar, and then I did Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, I believe, all on the same day. So I'm continuing like my playthrough of Donkey Kong Country. I think I'm like on the second to last world, if I remember correctly. But I was doing really badly this last time that I played it. I have no idea what the hell was going on.
Do you think it's harder now as an adult or is it harder as a kid?
Maybe harder as an adult, because I felt like I was more focused as a kid and more reactive as a kid. I feel like I'm a little bit slower with my responses, but I'm also more distracted now than I was as a kid, so that might be partly it as well.
Yeah, I don't hit the buttons as quick anymore. I've noticed this a lot lately. I don't hit the buttons as quick as I used to.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I push it too late.
It's too early or too late, and then I'm like, damn. Yeah. But what was
That's
it?
actually kind of interesting because I find myself pretty much the opposite, where I'm just quicker and just sharper to things, and I mean, like a lot of like Zelda, like I find that like a lot of boss fights, I'm able to be quick and reactive and like avoid like danger. I don't know. I guess it just really depends, but
yeah, I guess too, it's one of those things too, is like if you were used to playing a certain type of game, your reaction times and stuff like that will stay sharp. Games where you're constantly jumping or platforming or, making quick decisions to get through a segment of something, your skill set will maintain itself to an extent. Whereas like if you change games and you go on to a more leveled type of playing field, and you're just chilling and relaxing, your reaction times will falter over time.
Yeah, I would agree with that because like I'll say that I feel like I was more responsive with these types of games whenever I was younger, but I think that the challenge that I have now is that whenever I've got like stress going on, it makes it harder to like focus. But also I have to battle against ADHD as well, which also makes it hard to focus. But the thing is that with my ADHD, it's sort of conditional in how it works because if there's something that's really fast paced that requires like really rapid fire responses, I generally do pretty good because my ADHD will tend to kind of like super focus on that. If it's slower paced, I have a harder time. I guess you could say having like response times.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, because you're hyper focused on a specific thing to keep yourself in line versus, kind of aimlessly like wandering around or, doing whatever. And then you don't have a central point of focus that you have to focus on. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like, that's like the case with, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Were you better at these games? Was the game harder now or when you were younger type of thing? That's what we were going with?
Oh, no. I thought like you were starting to say something just then, and I didn't mean to talk over
no problem. No, you're okay. Continue.
So it's like the thing with like difficult games. In fact, like I'll take two different genres as an example. It's like with games like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and in that same category, I generally do very bad with them because I feel that the combat is a bit slower paced, so it's harder for me to find a groove and stick with it.
Right.
But games like Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry, which are also both very difficult games, have a lot faster paced combat, so I actually do much better with them as a result. And I think it's just like, I think it's maybe like an ADHD thing. It's like if it's fast enough paced, then I can focus better. But if it's slower, then it's kind of a little bit harder for me to find a rhythm.
That is interesting. I never thought about it that way. Never thought about it that way. That's why we're tackling Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, huh? Is this curing your ADHD ailments?
Yeah, it's like, what's funny is I was actually not playing that very well yesterday either. Wait, not yesterday. It was was it Thursday, I think? Yeah. I actually wasn't playing like any game that well that day. I'm not even really sure what was going on.
You were playing like it was your first time playing the game.
Yeah.
I was looking at you like,
it was bad.
How are you an adult?
It was bad, but yeah, it's like I just felt like playing Sonic Adventure 2 recently, so I just kind of popped it in this last few times. And what's funny is, again, the levels that I happen to have been doing better at are the ones that were faster paced, because the other ones that were slower I was doing even worse at.
So, okay. Is this a mainline Sonic game or is this a sideline Sonic game? Because I don't know what's going on with Sonic. There's so many damn Sonic games. I don't even know which one I would buy.
It's so I guess you could say it's technically mainline, but it's like
it's mainline because like it was the sequel to because remember Sonic Adventure DX or for the Dreamcast. So this was the sequel. So this was a mainline Sonic game, and that was actually at a time where like Sonic fanfare was actually getting up there again, and then it was kind of just all downhill after either Sonic Heroes or Sonic 06. I forget.
I know that Sonic 06 in general did pretty bad.
That's the one that's all weird, right? Like he like lands on Earth. It's basically the movie, but way worse.
Tries to kiss a human.
Yeah.
That one was weird. It's sad too because I actually wanted to like I actually really wanted to like Sonic 06. It probably would have been my favorite if like it wasn't as broken and if it didn't have like the weird human aspect in there like that.
That's the Xbox one, right? Like that was the Xbox one, I think.
Xbox and PS3.
Wow. Okay. So for right now, for $209, I can get the Sonic the Hedgehog Ultimate Bundle. There is literally 3 things. 9, 15 some odd games in here.
Okay, so what's in the bundle?
We have Sega All-Stars Racing, Sonic 3D Blast, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Spinball. I don't know why this is a thing. Don't ask me. But apparently we have Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. I don't know why they're
not bad.
I don't know why they're separated. Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure Battle 2, or 2 Battle, which is the thing Morgan's been jumping on here. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed Collection. Sonic Lost World, which seems to be one of the most expensive ones in this bundle.
Yeah, it's like Mario Galaxy, but Sonic.
Yeah, and then we have Sonic Generations Collection. Casino Night DLC included. Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, and Sonic Mania Encore DLC. I don't know which of these is fucking mainline. There's so much Sonic.
Are those? What justifies the price of that expense? So you said how much it was? It $200?
$209, and that is a 10% discount versus buying them separately.
Because it doesn't include some of the more better Sonic games. Like it doesn't include what's that new Sonic game that came out? Sonic Lost World?
Frontiers?
Sonic of the Wild, is that what you're calling about?
Yeah, it doesn't have Sonic Frontiers. It doesn't have Sonic Unleashed. And it doesn't have Sonic Heroes, where it was not like the greatest Sonic game, but at the same time, like it should be in there. It is a mainline Sonic game. It doesn't include like the Retro Genesis collection. It just includes just a mishmash of just like fucking
random fucking games,
Sonic Shovelware, and then like a couple of ones that are decent games, but no way. If anything, that entire bundle should cost $70 tops.
Let's
just a
see
mishmash
here.
collection.
I'm just going to collect a random game in here. Sonic Forces is $39.99 by itself, and it has mixed reviews on Steam.
It's got bad reviews. Well, I don't know why it has mixed reviews, because like it was apparently bad.
I've heard bad things about Forces. Yeah.
Okay. What about Sonic Mania here? Is Sonic Mania mainline, or is this a
Sonic Mania is good?
Is this a collection?
No, it's basically like retro Sonic, but like a little bit remastered, where it's got shinier graphics. And the craziest thing about it is Sonic Mania. What makes it so amazing is a lot of the levels are completely brand new. That's because they're fan made.
Okay, that's cool. So Sonic Mania in the bundle is $19.99. Very positive reviews.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sonic the Hedgehog. Worst to best.
That reminds me, I think that if I remember correctly, I believe that Generations was also a remaster of a lot of the older levels as well, but it's like an older remaster of sorts than Mania.
Yeah, so like the Sonic Generations is more focused on like the 3D games, but also like combines like some of the 2D ones as well, where they'll have for example, they'll have Green Hill Zone, but in a 3D environment where you zip through it as modern day Sonic the Hedgehog, where the camera's behind you. So that is kind of cool.
So I have found a list here from Game Informer. I'm obviously not going to go through this whole list, but I'll just relay this here. The worst game on this list, it goes to Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. That is number 17.
Shadow the Hedgehog should be the second worst game, right?
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
The second worst game. That is going to Sonic and the Secret Rings, which was on the Wii.
Oh, yeah. That one's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back up here. Okay, now we're going to go to the top of the tier. Number 1 is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Genesis 94.
That's fair.
Okay, so I'll be honest here. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and then Sonic 3 round out number 2 and number 1. Sonic Mania ranked number 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
What was the one you were asking about? Which one's the ass one you were asking about? Sonic something.
Can you share me the list?
Yes. I don't know. I'm obsessed with Sonic right now. But I'm going to go play this Sonic fucking 2006. I will find a way. I have a way.
Okay.
So here's the list. That's in the live chat there for you. But
I'm actually
yeah,
surprised that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 was actually pretty low on this list.
I actually never played 4. I heard of 4, but I never played it for some reason.
I want to play Sonic 2006. I'm gonna go be a hedgehog that makes out with humans. I'm gonna do it.
It makes me sad too, because like I actually really wanted to like this game, but they made it kind of weird with the whole human kiss thing, and then the broken camera angles and controls.
I really wanted to like this game, but it's giving me every reason to not like it. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So that is. Let me go back to my list here. Sorry.
Music is fire, though, in my opinion.
That is Baldur's Gate 3, Donkey Kong Country, and Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure Battle 2 or 2 Battle. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Zenith, you are working on the no paraglider run. I have no idea how you're doing this, but you are doing it.
Oh boy. So for anyone that has not played Tears of the Kingdom, this is your warning. I'm going to be talking about some spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Feel free to skip this segment or fast forward.
Okay. So I'm trying to get up to the Wind Temple. So the Wind Temple is in the northwest region of Hyrule. And that is a place where you use a partner named Tulin to try and like give you gusts of wind. That you use your paraglider to sail to different platforms, and you have to combine that and the ascend ability to try and go higher into the sky, and then you have to bounce off of the flags of a bunch of pirate ships that are floating in the sky to try and ascend higher and higher up to the sky in order to enter the temple. Because like you have this big giant storm cloud that you're trying to go above in order to drop into the temple. But the thing is, Eric, I don't have a paraglider.
Right. And I knew you were going to run into problems.
Oh, yes. And I did run into some major problems. Mm-hmm. Because, so I first started my ascent by using what I like to call the uppy spatula. So this spatula is essentially a catapult that I made that looks like a spatula. And it actually got me through the Zora dungeon. Because the low gravity, it was able to slingshot me way up in the sky, and it was fantastic. It was lots of fun. But I can't exactly do that here because their gravity is completely regular,
right,
or normal. So,
right. Because the Zora one, you have the light gravity, because it's which is interesting because the Zora Temple sits lower than the Wind Temple, but the Zora Temple has the lower level or the higher level of gravity.
Yeah. So, I ran into some problems with the spatula because even if it did launch me to the other platform, I would still fall and basically I would die. I'd be saved by a fairy, but I can only carry so many fairies on me. So if you can imagine, I was running into some very, very big problems. So I eventually had to change up my strategy. So I use the glider, the glider that's like the Zona device, right?
Right.
And I combine it with fans as well as attaching hot air balloons to my glider. So, but thankfully I have that zone, the large zonite charge. I have about 25 of them because I'm going to have, I knew I was going to run into some major problems with battery power at this stage of the game. So thankfully I managed to overcome that. Well, so thankfully I was prepared, but even then I was still running into so many problems because I would be crashing into the things. Once I crashed into one of the flying ships, and I would be stuck on the bouncing ship thing. And it's because if I try and jump on it, I would have no way of being able to make it to the next one. So I tried building one of my gliders on top of it, then everything launched.
Are you trying to do this straight from a brand new game, or are you doing this after beating the game? Like, are you keeping
this was an entirely different game, because in order for me to do this in challenge, so you know how you go up to Pura, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and like after visiting Hyrule Castle, she'll be like, hey, I want you to test out this tower, and I'm going to give you paragliders that you can use. Well, in order to kick off this challenge, I am not allowed to talk to Purim.
Oh.
So I don't have access to any of the towers, so I have no map unless if I'm down in down below doing the light routes. Like, that's the only way I have a map in the game.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pura activates the quest line, and then you need to do Pura.
Yep. So
okay, so I'm trying to think this out before we move forward here, because I don't know if you can do, because I would think, because you have to go back and talk to Pura again later in the game to activate the last quest.
well, we're gonna find out if I could skip past that, if by going through this, we shall see.
Right, because if you can, because the question is going to be: is you go to talk to Pura later in the game, is it going to activate the towers quest?
Well,
which it's a strong possibility it will.
Well, I'm gonna try and do him, even if it doesn't give me the option to have dialogue with her. I'm gonna try and like activate like the whole sequence of where you start getting to where you're in that tropical area of in Hyrule, and try and initiate that quest going into what's that area in the sky called? Morgan, do you know?
Which part?
What area?
Something. It's called Thunderhead or whatever it is.
Oh, Thunderhead. Yeah. Thunderhead, I think, is what it is.
Yeah. So like, I'm gonna try and like do that part of the game, either with the storm there or without. If without, oh, I'm in so much. That's gonna be even worse than the wind.
Yeah, it's called called Thunderhead. It's Thunderhead Isle.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Thunderhead Isle.
Oh, that's gonna be so much worse.
Right, and then you need to be able to get down deep into the depths.
Yeah, because you can actually, because the very first time I was there, it was before I was supposed to do that part of the game, like after you go up to Hyrule Castle to fight who. But
Yeah.
and it was an absolute nightmare, because like the visibility is really low. You're constantly in like a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was a bad time, but at least I had a paraglider. This time I won't have one, and if I have to do that without talking to Pura and in the storm, I'm going to have the worst time, even worse than Wind Temple.
And I think you're going to have a even more difficult time at the final segment of the game.
Well, that'll be fine. That'll be just fine, because I've actually been to the depths many times, Eric.
No. I'm talking past the depths. I'm talking the final battle of the game.
Oh, that's actually possible, because a lot of people that's speed run Tears of the Kingdom do the final battle without a paraglider.
Okay, if it's doable, then it's doable.
Yep.
Huh.
So yeah, that part is not a problem, because I actually got the Master Sword without a paraglider.
Okay.
But it was so lucky, because I launched myself out of the Wind Temple, and I'm just like, oh my god, where am I going? And it's like, hey, spoiler, Zelda's here. Oh my god, look at my luck. And people are just like, oh no, you're going to die, because I didn't have any fairies on me. And I fell on the dragon, no damage, got my master sword. I'm just like, oh, I'm a god.
So again, major spoiler alerts here. If you are listening and haven't finished this game, feel free to skip ahead or put us on mute for a second here on the Twitch chat. It's pretty interesting, and I didn't realize this, but the Where is Zelda quest marker is legitimately on the map where you find her in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally there. And I just think it's brilliant where she's like literally right under your nose.
Oh, she was there the whole time. But the thing is, though, she's so high up in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get up there. And thankfully, managed to do it without him. So
I forgot how I did it, but I got up there and I landed up there and got the sword. I forgot how I did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like the other dragons are a lot lower than Zelda, but not this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say this, Eric. When I was trying to get up to the Wind Temple, I think I had about 15 splats. And I'm not talking about like just where it's like, oh no, I missed my platform. I would actually fall all the way down to the Hebra Mountains and like smash off the side of the mountain from like thousands of feet in the air. And anyone that was afraid of heights was probably having a really bad time.
Jesus.
Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
How was it watching me from being up high up into the sky and then watching me fall and fall and fall?
It was not fun.
No. It's hard. You're doing one of these things you're doing one of those things where the game was not designed to do. Like it was not designed for you to play the game the way you are.
Yep.
Which is pretty.
And guess what? I did it anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I made it to the Wind Temple. I'm in.
Okay. You're in. And then you unlock you unlock the what's it called? I'm hoping, right? The shrine that's up there.
Yep. I unlocked both shrines. All I gotta do is just continue forward.
Nicely done.
Man, that was so stressful, but I made it.
How's the is the Kirby Nuzlocke just as stressful?
Yes, but it is. So I've been working on a video, like explaining the whole Nuzlocke and also showing my experiences, but it's taking so long to do it. Not because like there's just so much that I have to go through like the footage, but also because my video editor keeps crashing on me.
Oh no. DaVinci Resolve, my friend. DaVinci Resolve.
I might swap that, but then again, like I don't want to lose my hard work, but I think I might just try and like just update it and see if my project stays intact. So fingers crossed.
DaVinci Resolve just works.
So so this challenge, like I recently opened up to co-op, and it's actually been really fun, but it's also been kind of difficult because like instead of you holding on to one power up, you've got like two players holding on to two entirely different power ups, and it's like, and especially if I die, then you lose both power ups from the Nuzlocke. And there's only 20 in the game that you can use. So, like any kind of slip ups or any kind of like goofing around, you can just burn through all your abilities like before you're even like halfway through the game. So it's rough. Like Morgan, we did not make it very far, did we?
No.
I wonder whose fault that was, but
wow.
It was probably yours. That was perfect.
Morgan is always perfect. That's why she's in charge of what you can and can't say.
But yeah, but it was a fun time though. I'm still doing like solo runs, but right now I need like a couple of like a week or two break because it's an awful lot, and I haven't really made any progress. Like the furthest I got, so like Eric, you played a Kirby Superstar before, right?
Yeah, a long time ago, but played it.
Yeah, so like only once did I make it to Milky Way Wishes, but And at the end of the game, the challenge opens up because you can use your power-ups as long as you have them anywhere you want. But the thing is, by the time you get to that game, if you do manage to make it, you're down to your last like 3 or 4 abilities, and it's a fucking nightmare.
Well,
yeah,
I tried finding this Nuzlocke thing. Where do I find it in the Nintendo Switch Online? Or where
it's
do I
not
find
there.
it?
I made this myself. So it is self-imposing challenges.
Oh.
So if you load up Kirby,
Okay.
you're able to do the Nuzlocke. However, if Kirby gets hurt and if you lose your ability, you need to have mark off. Okay, I cannot use this ability anymore. Like that's why I have little tracker thingy. I want to see if I can get maybe a good screenshot. I'll get that, prepare that afterwards. I'll do it on the next time we're on break. And then you also are not allowed to attack as regular Kirby. So so you will spend some time as regular Kirby, just running around enemies and just be like, no, I don't have any of these abilities. But you're not allowed to fight back. So you can't spit out enemies or objects. You just have to move. You can take damage, and if the enemies end up dying because you're running past them, it's fine.
Got you.
Just you can't really kill bosses with it. So you lose your ability during the boss. You actually have to force your character to die.
I got it. So I was looking you were oh, it's you could do this right from your Nintendo Switch. I'm like, okay, cool. I went to go find this Nuzlocke thing, and I'm like, I don't see this anywhere. Now I know it's rules that you're imposing on the thing. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm vested. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yep. I'll have a graphic or of some sort to show for anyone that wants to know exactly what the Nuzlocke entails. If you do want to give it a try,
send me the rules.
Will do.
Send me the rules. We're gonna do this. I'll record this at some point, and we'll get this done because I'm intrigued. Yep. Let's see.
I want to try this when I'm actually good enough.
I'm gonna go practice with regular Kirby, and then I'll do this Nuzlocke one. So that is Tears of the Kingdom, Zenith's No Paraglider Challenge. That is Kirby Hardcore Nuzlocke. As for myself here, we trudged through and we finished the Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That was one of those things on my backlog that we were trying to get done. I think I can say right off the bat, I like the first game more. I think I like Jedi Fallen Order more than I did this one. For those that do not know, these who does these? Respawn. These Respawn Star Wars games, they're basically They're basically Dark Souls style games with a Star Wars skin on them. So it relies heavily on parrying, dodging, and meticulous attack patterns to progress through the game and beat these segments. It's very much in the vein of Dark Souls. You can go to basically meditation points. You meditate, and then your enemies are respawned. And then if you die, you are sent back to the last meditation point. So that is the concept of these games. It is very heavy in. It's very heavy in the first game. Very, very much so. Very Dark Souls. You're a lot of dying, a lot of respawning, and going through the segments over and over and over again. The second game, Jedi Survivor, they have kind of eased back on it a little bit, and they've made it more arcade style, but the concepts are still there. But it's very more arcade style. The way they counteract this, though, that I found kind of tedious and annoying, is they basically just throw more enemies at you. So instead of you having very meticulous, 1 versus 2 versus 3 type of battles, now you're in a room fighting, 15 enemies to progress through some of these levels, and it gets infuriating and it gets difficult and it becomes kind of a struggle bus because you're just constantly getting slashed and hacked at from all these different angles. You're getting fired at by stormtroopers, et cetera, and it becomes becomes tedious and it becomes annoying, and it's a lot of just repetitive work to try to get through these aspects of the game. Storytelling wise, from a Star Wars standpoint, it's classic Star Wars storytelling. It's very well done. It's great. No complaints about that yet and I think that's one of the reasons I just went through and saw the game through and finished it, because the story was actually very well done and it was pretty good storytelling from a Star Wars standpoint. Performance wise, the game is hideous performance wise. Just constant stuttering, crashing, hitboxes are being missed, etc., which in a game that is supposed to be relied on meticulous parrying and dodging and just accurate button tapping at the right time, it doesn't.
Didn't they also like release like a patch to try and like address some of the performance issues?
They've done 3 patches and it still stutters.
Yeah.
It's just performance wise, it's just bad. I'm gonna guess, because from what I hear from the console side, I was playing this on PC, but from the console players, their performance improved quite a bit. So I don't know if there was more emphasis on the console versions of the games versus the PC, but PC wise, I was just still being, hammered with glitches. And I'm not on.
At least they're attempting, unlike a certain AAA Nintendo publisher.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to really give the game a glowing review, because it's just, what is this?
Morgan's being attacked again.
Morgan, did you not take a can of Raid to your room, or what?
That's the thing. I keep killing them and they just keep coming back. They're like white hairs. You kill one and like 2 more spawn.
I'm pretty convinced some queen just gave birth to a bunch of gnat eggs in your room, and now you will live with them forever.
I think it might be because we have like 2 plants in the house that we have to keep watering. So there's water that are left in the pots to kind of like water them throughout the week. And I think they might be spawning from there.
You know what?
I'm not sure.
What it is? They love coffee.
You're gonna have to burn your house down now.
They think they have recognized you're a fan of Skyward Sword, and now they're after your coffee.
Ew.
No.
Why?
So, to like give a bit of background, when I was playing Skyward Sword, like back when the HD remake came around, that entire time I was constantly being attacked by gnats, and they were always landing in my coffee, and it was happening like literally every stream. They won't bother me they wouldn't really bother me if I was like offline, but as soon as I go live, into my coffee they go.
Ew.
Eventually, I was like, you know what, guys, sorry, got extra protein today.
Maybe the gnats were that sludge that was at the bottom of your Keurig cup. You ever think about that?
No,
you drank sludgy gnats. Like, just deal with it.
Jesus, Prom.
He whenever that happens, he's like, I see there's a gnat in here and I just killed it, and then he went like this. He drank it anyway.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
We were disgusted.
I'm a fan. I'm a big I would say spokesperson for do it for the content.
He's a fan of recycling, is what he is.
Yeah, doing it for the TikToks, the YouTube shorts, the shorts and jorts.
This is disgusting. I'm literally gonna just throw up in my mouth right now.
Some people eat like scorpions. I just continue to drink my coffee even if a gnat lands in it.
Yeah, but the people that eat these scorpions, the snails, like in these foreign countries or whatever, they at least like make the bug in some kind of edible food fashion. You literally have a dead gnat that just flew in your coffee and you drank it.
It's in my belly, therefore it's in edible fashion.
Ew.
I'm just kidding. I removed the gnat first and then I drank the coffee.
Yeah, he did.
When it lands in your coffee, it probably like shat in your coffee, right? So you drank gnat shit.
Hey, some people will eat guano, so may as well.
So yeah, back to Jedi Survivor here. If I can,
if the Jedis, if your Jedi can survive, I can survive drinking coffee with the gnats in it.
Mengnat Trois.
I think that is the episode title. There it is. There it is. It'll go perfect with Morgan and Jeff Goldblum. Congratulations, Morgan. You have 2 episode titles now.
Thank you.
There you go. I can't say I love this game. I cannot say I love this game. The difficulty got so difficult at some points where I did the dreaded, I hate to say it, but I did the dreaded lower the difficulty to get through segments, some of the bosses and stuff like that. Part of it was a combination is I was over the glitches, I was over the performance stutters, I was over the constant like just bombardment of enemies and the constant repetitive of it. Is like, I just want to get through this. I just want to see where the story ends up. I want to see it through. And then I like lowered the difficulty, finished some of these bosses, raised it back up, and then just process repeat. And
yeah. So would you say that it's harder than oh my gosh, what was the previous Jedi game called?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. So is this so I'm guessing like it sounds more unfair as opposed to more difficult.
Jedi Fallen Order I found to be more balanced. Okay. I found it to be more balanced because a lot of the segments in Jedi Fallen Order you're fighting, you know, maybe 1v3, 1v4 tops type of situations, right? Mm-hmm. Where Jedi, which I feel is a lot more balanced, is a difficulty to it. Also, Jedi Fallen Order didn't have nowhere near the level of glitches that this game does. The glitches do make the game a lot more difficult because you stutter, your parry times get thrown off, etc. But Jedi Fallen Order I found to be much more balanced. It was difficult, just as difficult, I think, if not slightly more difficult, but it was more balanced. It was more doable and less grindy. This one has you in segments where you know, classic Star Wars where you land, like you go to like Star Destroyers or whatever, and you literally see a fleet of like 30 stormtroopers type of thing, you know, lined up. Mm-hmm. You run into segments like that. And then they'll send big, gigantic, you know, droids that are just tanks hammering at you while 30 stormtroopers are firing at you in this thing. It just makes the game much less, how do I put this? It makes it more arcadey, but it takes away a lot of that Dark Souls element to it. Because I think the Dark Souls element is the, you know, one-to-one combat, the parrying and things like that to, you know, take down the opponents. And I think that's the problem I have with the second game versus the first one. I loved the first one. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great game.
Yeah, because I haven't seen as many people like playing through Jedi Survivor or as many people enjoying it as much as they did the first game. So that's kind of why I keep forgetting about that the game exists.
It also came at a time when, you know, it was literally in the middle of like Resident Evil 4 remake, and then what came after that shortly. What was the other big one that came right after that? Resident Evil 4 remake, and then it was it Starfield? I think it was Starfield after Resident Evil 4.
I think, yeah.
So it came at a time when there was just like 3 huge games on the horizon. Oh, and then Tears of the Kingdom literally was, you know, a month and a half later. So it just came at a time frame where it was probably a game that deserved some praise or at least some attention, but it just got overshadowed by stuff that was far more.
Well, you know, they have the opportunity to shine out because, like, you know, especially if the quality was as good as Fallen Order was, then it probably wouldn't have gotten run at the awards, the video game awards in December, because right now I haven't really been hearing much about it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I got, like, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it probably got backlogged by a ton of people, you know, and it's unfortunate, but then again, I think it's at one of those levels where I would call it, you know, a backlog game. Wait for the sale. If you want to go back and try it, then go and hammer it out. But I think your much better experience would be with Fallen Order if you're into that Star Wars. If you want Dark Souls with Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order is the better approach, I think, than Survivor is. And then, of course, I did some Baldur's Gate 3. We shared that earlier with Morgan here. I was gifted a copy of Dave the Diver over the holidays.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
I hear a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, thank you very much to the mutual, Tony, Ninja Falcon. He had gifted me a copy of Dave the Diver for the holidays. And It's so much fucking fun.
Yeah, I hear that Everest was playing it, and she loved it as well.
Yeah. Everest was playing it, and she really, really enjoyed it. She talked about it on a previous pod. So I was like, I want to try this. I put it on the wish list. I was waiting for the sale, and I didn't quite get to it in time. But someone had gifted me I was gifted the copy, and then I sat down, spent some time with it. It's got this perfect mix of chill game with mild stress factors to it, because the chill aspect of it is you are a diver. You go diving. Morgan, are you okay?
It's a gnat.
She's just like,
We'll just call Zenith over. He'll eat it. Yeah, so he'll sniff it out and eat it. So
Zen, will you come eat my gnat?
So basically, you start off as this diver, and then the relaxing aspects of the game are you go diving and you catch all these fish, and then by night you actually help run a sushi restaurant, and you make a menu based off the fish that you caught during the day. And I'm having all kinds of fun making these sushi recipes, and then the mild stress factors come in. You get that overcooked kind of feel to it, where you're kind of like rushing to serve sushi plates and fill drinks and all this kind of stuff to make the ends meet at the end of the night. And there's all kinds of these little elements to it. The better fish you catch, the more money you can make, because you can make a higher quality sushi dish or a more expensive sushi dish that raises more money for your restaurant and brings your revenues up. And it's a really, really well done game. I'm still digging into it. Characters come along and they offer you challenges like, can you find this buried treasure for me, type of thing, and I'll reward you handsomely if you find it for me, etc., etc., etc. One of the interesting side quests to the thing is there's a restaurant reviewer that is looking for this dish that the sushi chef in your restaurant makes, but it requires you to go find this really obscure fish in the ocean. And they only come like once in a blue moon, and you got to go find the fish, catch the fish, and then make the dish for the reviewer to get a glowing review type of situation in the game. It's really, really well done. It's beautiful. It's got that glorious, like bright colored 16-bit look to it. It is great. Highly, highly recommended. Dave the Dyer. Yes, so many someone in the chat here, Prom is in the chat here. There's so many little mini games in Dave the Diver, and none of them are super tedious. I agree. It is all fun. Very, very well done game. Well worth the $20 price point, I think it is. I can look that up.
It's actually pretty good for.
I believe it's definitely affordable.
Yeah.
Works great on the Steam Deck if you are a Steam Deck person. Dave the Diver, $19.99. Works great on the Steam Deck. No complaints there. Just great game. That's Dave the Diver. Catch it on Steam. I believe it's on the Nintendo eShop. And I'm not sure about Sony or Xbox, but well done game. Go play Dave the Diver. And that has been my gaming for the past couple weeks.
Very nice.
Yeah. Anyone got anything else to add here before we take a quick break?
Nothing that I can think of.
Aside from the gnats, catch the gnats.
No, I don't think that I have anything at the moment to add either.
All right. On that note, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. This has been Good Friends, Good Games, and we'll be back shortly. All right. It is Good Friends, Good Games. We are back. So we're going to get into some industry discussion here, some recent stuff that has happened. It's a difficult discussion, but I feel that it is important and is warranted that we talk about it, especially, and, we shine some light as to, show some respect to these individuals that are affected. But first off, some big news out of the Twitch camp. Twitch is really, really updating the payout program for all of its partnered broadcasters and affiliate broadcasters, if I'm reading this correctly here. So,
yep, it's about time, because before you get into this, actually, you know what? Explain like the payout first, and then I'll do some comparison.
Okay, so I've been out of full disclosure here. Aside from the podcast here, I've been out of the Twitch financial, or how do I word this? I've been out of the monetizing streamer game for a while, so I don't know if affiliates still exist or if it's all partner program now. I don't know the exact structure of this. Zen could lay this out a little bit better here, but I'm going to read this here. It's been a minute for me. But according to this here, this comes straight from the Twitch blog. You can catch it here. Update to several payout programs. They've made 3 announcements that are going to build on changes that they've made over the last year. They aim to create long-term, transparent framework for streamer compensation that rewards and encourages creators who are committed to live streaming. 1, they're going to expand the Partner Plus program. This is going to give more streamers access to increased net revenue shares on paid and gifted subs. They are going to eliminate the $100,000 cap for the 70-30 split. For those that do not know, Twitch partners that reach a certain threshold that I'm guessing is around the 100K cap, according to this number. Anyone under that was 50-50 split. And as those streamers got bigger and garnered more subscriptions and generated bigger audiences, etc., streamers of that caliber were able to negotiate their split down to a 70-30. I'm guessing maybe a 60-40, some other option in there that would benefit the broadcaster more and gain them a higher payout come payout time.
Yeah, so like you had to hit 100 points if you were a Twitch partner, and then you had to for it to get the 60-40 split, and then you had to get the this in order to hit the 70-30 sub split, you need to hit 350 points. Now the thing is, these don't include Twitch Prime subs. These don't include gifted subs. It has to be 100 people that are either subscribed to you, or a few of them have to be tier 2 or tier 3. So tier 1 is 1 point, tier 2 is 2 points, and tier 3 is 6 points.
Which is interesting to me. Sorry to interrupt here, but that's interesting because those numbers actually seem low.
Yeah, they seem very reachable. I actually have friends that have that are part of the Partner Plus program, and but before these changes, the biggest thing for them is once they've earned 100,000, it goes back to 50-50. And I actually know a couple of people that kind of gets a bit screwed on this because obviously, like once they hit the 100,000 threshold, there's not a whole lot of like need to or there's like less incentive for people to sub because obviously their earnings go back down to, you know, the default 50-50. Now the thing is though, Twitch has been behind in this, and there's a reason why a lot of big content creators are leaving Twitch for YouTube, Kick, even Facebook Gaming, and for a while, oh my gosh, what was that that Microsoft platform called?
Mixer.
Yes, Mixer. So for YouTube, I have the numbers up here. So YouTube has a 70-30 split for all creators, whether it's super chats, subscriptions where people like subscribing to them, super VOD. So it's always 70-30, regardless of whoever you are, whether you like the moment you start making money, 70-30. Mm-hmm. And Kick, I mean, we all have our thoughts and feelings on Kick. Their sub split is 95-5. So,
which is an insane number. Like,
but let's also don't kid ourselves, because the reason why it's that high is because it's backed by some major casinos, and it's basically just a whole ploy to get people to like gamble.
Yes, it's a gateway to another revenue stream for that company. That's from what I understand, that is the business model. Now, this is all alleged. I'm not going to confirm any of that because I obviously am not on their board or anything and don't know the exact statements of their business plan. But from what we can see on the outside, it looks like their idea is we bring people in on the video game streaming side. We have some streamers, you know, promote the gambling program and all that, the gambling software, all that kind of stuff. Those avenues, and that's the gateway into the other business avenues that Kick's parent company has. and is their main source of income. That seems to be on the surface what the business model looks like.
Yeah.
And the 95-5 split entices those creators to kind of jump on that. And again, because if you think about it, this is what's interesting, and a lot of people do not understand this. Standard Twitch broadcaster that's affiliated is making a 50-50 split. They make $100. Twitch is taking $50. On top of that $50 that the streamer gets to take home, the broadcaster also has to put away 30% of that for taxes. So, reality, $50 minus 30%, that's what, maybe 40 some odd bucks, 40 40-ish bucks,
it is
give or take.
really hard to make money on Twitch. But
and then
the thing now obviously, like, Twitch does have superior tools. Like, they have they do have like policies and tools in place that better protect your channel. They have better moderation tools. They got more cool, fun, interactive things as opposed to that YouTube and TikTok doesn't have. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to money, for the longest time, Twitch was well behind the game. But now, not only did they make it easier by removing that cap, but they have also opened this Plus program to affiliates. So now even Twitch affiliates can make that threshold, and even if for some reason they still cannot hit Twitch partner, you can still qualify for the 60-40 or the 70-30 split. Because I believe I actually have a couple of people that are Twitch affiliate and probably could qualify for the 70-30 split, because that's just how insane their support is.
Yes. So this brings up some interesting points here. So back when I was doing it heavily, and Zenith was in the same thing, they had the affiliate program and they had the partnership program. Partner was the higher tier, affiliate was the entry level tier to monetization on Twitch. What it looks like now from this whole thing, I have a feeling the affiliate thing is going to go away. It's all going to be just one monetized model for your platform.
No. I don't think it's going to exactly come to that, because I feel that Twitch still does offer more for partners. But mind you, though, they can't really offer too much more, because they want to try and incentivize content creators to try and push to hit those partnerships, so that way they can unlock more tools. Because so on top of this whole top of them adding this Plus program initiative, 2 days later they actually announced that all content creators now have more static emote slots. Like, they added 10 for affiliates, plus 10 affiliate emote sub slots, which is insane. And but Twitch partners get 60 new emotes. And emo artists right now are seeing dollar signs before their eyes.
But I mean, I get what you're saying. Right, I see what you're saying. Like, they have to have incentive for a partner because there's partners that exist and all that. But I mean, I can see it. People can call me crazy or argue it with me here in the chat a little bit. But it costs them more money to have two separate monetization streams, because they have to come up with tracking and all this stuff for those two separate platforms, where it's much easier just to lump it all into one. We're not seeing it right now, but it's getting pretty damn close. You can see it from the monetization model right here, because it's all based off sub points. Whether you're affiliate or partner, it's all based off sub points that this model comes into play. They're offering, which I think, call me crazy, I think the most important thing to a career broadcaster is these monetizations here, not the emotes. It's the monetization models here that are what are enticing people that, are career broadcasters. This is the stuff that entices people. I would argue that while 60 emotes is cool, the 70-30, the 350 sub points or whatever to get a 70-30 is much more enticing for a broadcaster.
Yeah, honestly, Twitch partner as it is, the program itself isn't that much different from affiliate. Like, yes, you get invited to like a partner only Discord party, and then like, but I think they also get like a higher cut as far as like they can get like better deals for those like Twitch ad incentive things.
Right.
But for the most part, getting partnered on Twitch is mostly just for like the shiny badge and like extra emotes.
The reason I'm arguing this is because you have affiliates out there that make more revenue than Twitch partners. So from a Twitch financial standpoint, which we're going to get into in a minute here because it's actually very, very important. From a Twitch financial standpoint, it doesn't make much sense to pay out, or to offer these incentives to a partner that is generating less revenue than an affiliate. It's much easier to just to be like, hey, one program, everyone's in on this, go make your money. Here's what we're offering all of you, right? Now, I do think some of the perks of the thing are going to go away, like the partner party stuff and all that stuff, I think is going to eventually go away. I think so.
Honestly, like I would be okay if they put if they spent less money on certain things for TwitchCon, because like Dan Clancy himself in like that meeting when he let go, because like the one thing that like makes this all kind of bittersweet is like, yes, this was good news for content creators, but this came literally like a few days after Twitch just announced to let go like a lot of employees.
So let's get into that, because it's all kind of, I don't want to say it's a slimy tactic, but is a very calculated tactic of announcing this news.
Yeah.
Right
it's
next
like, hey, here's a distraction.
Yeah. For a lack of a better word, yes. Okay, so let's look at that real quick here. And this is going to be a rough conversation here.
Yep.
So I've got an article in front of me here. This is from The Verge. Twitch is cutting 1/3 of its staff. Latest round of job cuts affecting more than 500 employees, which is reporting about 35% of its headcount. 35% is a insane number for the size of a company like Twitch.
Yep.
Twitch is laying off more than 500. I'm sorry, this was January 10th is the date of this article. Twitch is laying off more than 500 employees. CEO Dan Clancy announced that morning, reportedly accounting for 35% of its staff. In March of 23, Twitch cut 400 roles as part of a larger layoff at a parent company. Amazon saw 18,000 people lose their jobs.
Yeah.
So
also let's not forget that on December 5th, Twitch announced that it shut down its business in South Korea, because apparently like the expenses to keep it running in South Korea is extremely expensive.
So now there's a couple of things that have come out in light of this whole thing. Dan Clancy said on a stream himself in person, said that Twitch at this point right here, right now, is not profitable. I think anyone that paid attention to how the business model of Twitch works, this is no surprise. Twitch spends far more money hosting the broadcasters than the broadcasters bring in. So this is a huge issue that we're starting to see. We're starting to see the cracks of the problem. Like, we're starting to see all the cracks starting to kind of like buckle under Twitch now, because Twitch does not make any money. It's loud and clear. They do not make money. It's Dan Clancy saying we are not profitable means Twitch does not make money.
Yeah.
It makes enough to stay afloat and keep going, but that might not necessarily be true. But by Dan Clancy,
that also begs the question of like why, like YouTube, the reason why they're able to like, what's the highest quality you can stream on YouTube? It's got to be something like 4K, right?
I do not have those numbers, so I can't comment on that. But
okay, but yeah, so like this is why Twitch, content creators will never be able to stream at a quality higher than 1080p. It's because like the cost of hosting everything is way too much. And for all we know, Amazon is like really like hard capping like how much Twitch is allowed to spend of their money to try and maintain like a streamable service on Twitch.
Right. So for those that so Twitch is a subsidiary of Amazon. Amazon owns Twitch. Now, I don't know the agreements of their partnership or their ownership. I do not know the agreement, but I think it's pretty safe to say that because almost every single company in the world uses it, a good chunk of company uses it. They use Amazon's web services. It's called Amazon Web Services to host the streams to the world. They use Amazon's servers. They use Amazon's data centers. They use Amazon's resources to put those streams out to the internet. We do not know exactly how much Twitch pays to use the Amazon web servers, or if we don't know how much Amazon actually allocates in terms of bandwidth cost wise to Twitch's operations. We don't know those numbers. They don't disclose those numbers. But just from what I know in terms of how much AWS can cost, it is not fucking cheap what Twitch is doing. I can guarantee you it is not cheap. So I don't know the numbers because I don't know how much bandwidth they're using or the arrangements of their deal, but it's definitely more than the streams bring in, which is funny because there's always these boycott streams like Twitch is doing this, stop streaming for a day, show Twitch how much it hurts, da 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 da. By those streamers gathering together and not streaming that day, they are actually saving Twitch money. They are saving Amazon money by not streaming. As cruel as it is to say, those boycotts save Amazon money because that is resources they do not have to pay for in terms of bandwidth.
That's also before considering the cost of like the servers themselves, because like those computers are not cheap.
Yeah. Right. So the way Amazon Web Services works is you're basically paying another company to use their servers, their infrastructure, their bandwidth to put your data out to the world. So Amazon supplies the servers. They supply the data center. They supply the backup. They supply the redundancy, everything, so a company cannot go down.
But there's something seems to be like a little fishy about this because first of all, Amazon owns Twitch, and of course it's their own like Amazon streaming services that Twitch has full access to. Mm-hmm. And it almost kind of feels like maybe they're hiding some of like they're lumping in like the expenses of like how much it costs to like actually run those servers, whereas like, hey, like we already run the service anyway. It's like a write-off because like we already run this service, but we're also applying this to Twitch to try and help justify our means of laying these people off. Because let's be honest, Amazon, yes, they have lots of money. Don't know why my webcam froze there for a second.
You're okay. You're still good.
But if Amazon owns Twitch, and if they were like hemorrhaging money through them, they would have gotten rid of Twitch already.
So it's interesting how this works. Okay, sometimes these big companies buy a smaller company in the terms of Amazon versus Twitch. When Amazon purchased Twitch, Twitch was a much smaller company.
Mm-hmm.
When a big company buys a smaller company like that, it's usually for tech, or it's usually for IP, or it's usually for some kind of product or service, right? So Twitch had some tech that Amazon was able to leverage and purchase Twitch and get access to that tech and use it in their own services. That's probably the main reason why Amazon bought Twitch. I can't say this is all alleged. I'm guessing this.
Yeah, because at that time, I think when Amazon first purchased Twitch, they didn't really have their own streaming services yet,
correct.
Did they?
No.
That's what I was wondering.
So maybe it's like a mutual agreement
yeah.
in order to like use each other's infrastructure in order to help each other out. because now obviously Amazon not only has their own streaming services, but they have their own shows, and then Twitch obviously has more access to more prestige streaming services. So that way streamers, because like I remember the days where people streamed to like what 4080p, and there's like, oh, look at this big Twitch streamer streaming at 720p. Oh shit, that's so cool.
So
and now everyone does it.
So there's a term for that again. It's like symbiotic or something, I think.
Something like that.
It's
yeah.
like they both benefit. Yeah.
So here's the thing too, and people keep hammering this out, and it drives me to no end. They say Twitch is owned by Amazon. This should not be a problem. Amazon is not Twitch's piggy bank. It's not like Amazon can or Twitch can go to Amazon and be like, hey, I need another $1 billion to run my business for a couple years. It does not work that way. Amazon purchased a company. They looked at this company and they said, here's the potential revenue streams. Here's what is possible. We can possibly profit off this. But in the end, we have the tech and all that stuff that we have purchased. We can possibly make some money off of this. They have purchased the company. They have purchased Twitch. There is still some kind of expectation when a company buys another company that they can profit from that purchase. It's not like Twitch says, oh, we got all these resources now. Thanks, Amazon. We're going to be great. No, it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chibi. Twitch is not the trust fund, baby.
So there's probably got to be like some kind of revenue that they bring in that they can exactly show. So they probably have to like lump in the expenses in with it in order to justify what they do. But at the same time, there was a bottom line where, because they knew that they would be signing their own death warrant if on the heels of them letting go, what was it, like 500 or 35% of their employees, they had to do something. They had to like introduce something that was going to try and bring more content creators back to Twitch and offer more incentive for creators to try and earn more money, because they can't compete with them. Because at this rate, they cannot compete with YouTube. They cannot compete with TikTok. They cannot compete with Kick, even though despite the fact that like, Kick seems to be like dying down just a little bit. But I don't care about that because Kick's like a whole different thing.
The big elephant in the room is YouTube. Twitch cannot compete with YouTube. All YouTube really has to do is put resources into it, and then Twitch is in serious trouble. So I think I read it somewhere. This was a while back, but like the viewership in a month for Twitch was YouTube's viewership in a day, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Hours viewed. That's what YouTube gets in a day. Now, there's a couple other factors into this whole thing and how this business is run, and it's wild to me. One, and this was also disclosed in the blogs, they're doing away with the multi-million-dollar contracts for these star streamers. They're doing away with that.
Yeah, they're done.
And because the exact reasoning was that we found that the benefits of such agreements they do not justify the cost. So basically they're paying a streamer $10 million to stay on a platform. They're not getting that $10 million back.
It's not lucrative.
It's not
so
lucrative.
Now it's just like, hey, you want to stream on our platform, you can go right ahead and stream on YouTube and TikTok. That's why they introduced the non-exclusivity agreement where content creators can stream on whatever programs, on whatever platform they want, because at the end of the day, it does give them viewership. And some form of revenue, right?
Right. And it's hard to say, and it's hard to kind of wrap the head around. Like, I feel bad for all the people that have lost their jobs at Twitch over the years, not just in this 500 number that just happened this year, but over the years. We saw the company get gutted and gutted and gutted from all the people that made Twitch special. In the process of that, Twitch has done a very, very, very good job of selling you a lifestyle. Like Bleed Purple, here's TwitchCon, here's TwitchCon, which I'll get to in a second here. But like Bleed Purple, represent Twitch, stream the streamer life. They've sold you this idea that this lifestyle is fucking glamorous and it's great and it's all this cool stuff that you're gonna do. Play video games for a living, like it's a lifestyle, right? They've sold you on this BS. When the reality is it's a company that's incredibly unstable for anyone that is trying to make that the primary source of revenue in their careers.
Yeah.
It's and of course
it's possible. It's just very, very difficult, and you never know, because I actually know one YouTube guy who actually quit his job and been doing YouTube full time, and then all of a sudden you hit like a rut with content creation, and then suddenly it's like, uh-oh, I might need to go back to work. So all content creators always must have a plan where either A, they become irrelevant, or B, like look at what's his name, who's that major YouTube guy that was Matt Pat.
Yeah, Matt Pat.
So, like he's retiring, and like that's why some content creators have to have like a backup plan for life outside of content creation. So, it's difficult. It is possible, but it doesn't exactly mean you can live from whatever age you start doing content creation and you'll be fine until you hit 65. You must always have a backup plan, and it isn't as stable as people think. I mean, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds luxurious, but at the end of the day, it is just a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
You have to look at it in the same way that you look at kids that dream of being in the NFL or the NBA or any of those kind of like major, those sports, right? Like, think about how many people play football in America, and think about how many actually make it to the NFL. But then think about how many actually become NFL superstars, making those multi-million-dollar a year contracts,
Yeah.
Think about how many people in the world think about how many people in the world, kids play football in America, and think about how many of them actually become a Peyton Manning or one of those recognizable superstars. And
even then,
it's impossible almost.
If you take a look at some of, for example, if you take a look at certain like athletes, like I don't know my football well at all. But there's something that I watch who covers a lot of hockey, and he's saying, "Hey, this guy is like one of the worst players on the team, but he's 36 years old, and he scored about 50 goals in his lifetime." But if you think about it, even though he only has 50 goals, it actually places him within like the top like 15% goal scorers of all time, because how many like actual athletes just don't get anywhere, or they're up in the show for about maybe like a year or two, and then all of a sudden just fade into the abyss, and it just doesn't work out for them. And same thing for NFL. Like you probably seen like lots of players that come play for your favorite team. They come from like Europe or something like that, and then they play a season, and then they're gone, and then you never hear about them ever again.
Exactly. And Prom actually brings up a very good point in the chat here. The number of these Twitch superstars that have no financial literacy, they make millions of dollars doing this stuff, and they spend it like crazy. They buy, jewelry, they buy cars, they buy these, they rent these extravagant houses.
Yeah.
And things of that. There's a reason they rent the extravagant houses versus actually buying the extravagant houses.
Yeah, it's not common to come across athletes that are bankrupt in their like 30s.
Yeah, so like they look at that whole thing, and then the lifespan of that career is so short that it's not sustainable enough to maintain it for the rest of your foreseeable life if you are not investing it and working at it correctly, like investing and divesting your money into other revenue streams. But that's more a complicated factor of it, but it ties into what they're doing to try. Twitch again is trying to lure you back into this lifestyle, saying, hey, you can make money here again, come with us and make money, come back and do the thing.
I will say this, even though it is concerning and worrying that Twitch just let go of 35% of their workforce, but I will say that because remember when what was it, last year, I told you guys that I personally met and talked with Dan Clancy, CEO of Twitch. So, and at first, my first impression was that he didn't really know what he was getting himself into. And he didn't really fully know everything that was going on. But at least he sounded passionate enough where he wanted to take the reins and run with it. So since Dan Clancy has taken over, yes, we've had this issue. Yes, we've had oh my gosh, what was the latest Twitch controversy? Wasn't it like the gambling thing or something like that?
Something about the gambling.
Yeah, something like that. But honestly, with how much Twitch has actually improved some of their tools to keep streamers safe, there's been a lot more transparency. Sure, some of it has been good, some of it has been bad, but at least they've been transparent. And with the fact that like we now have like a 60-40, 70-30 split, amongst other things, I think for the most part, Twitch has had more wins or more W's as opposed to L's in the last year. So, I mean, I want to remain optimistic, but that all depends. Like, it could either be the beginning of the end or the beginning of hopefully something turning around. But at the same time, this sub split and actually doing more for creators is something that we've been waiting for a long time. But just hopefully it is not too late to actually save the future of Twitch.
Yeah, it's Twitch is in this corrective state right now where Twitch has overspent. Twitch was getting trapped. Remember, and I'll explain this in a little bit when we talk about the next story here. The pandemic set some expectations that were just any realistic person would realize would not last forever. So, because there was a big streamer boom during the pandemic because no one was working. But we're going to go on that in a second here because this ties into this story a little bit here. The next story here. But to close out the Twitch thing, Twitch is correcting itself. It's doing what it can. Do I overall think what they're doing, aside from these layoffs, obviously, do I think the stuff they're doing for the platform itself is an improvement? Yes, generally so. They're trying to improve it. They're trying to work on it. They're trying to fix the problems. And, hopefully they maintain that leverage and can bring themselves back to futility.
Yeah, at least they're transparent because like, I do appreciate that like an awful lot. Like,
which they never were before. They were never transparent about anything.
I mean, you didn't know where the CEO of Twitch was. I forget like his last name.
Mr. Emmett Shear.
Oh, Emmett Shear, who's probably like fishing or some kind of shit. Oh wait, no, he's in charge. Isn't he in charge of Unity now?
No, he was in charge of some AI company for like one day.
I think said Ed Sheeran at first.
Yeah. No. But on to the next thing here. This is incredibly unfortunate. I'm going to kind of unfortunately like lump these two together here. But
okay.
This is the big news just before this podcast this past week. Microsoft has laid off 1,900 people over the Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox employees staffing. This is the article off The Verge here. Microsoft is laying off 1,900 employees across their three avenues, Activision, Blizzard, and Xbox this week. The primary layoffs are coming from Activision and Blizzard, while some Xbox and ZeniMax employees will also be impacted by cuts. It works out to roughly 8% of the overall Microsoft gaming division that stands at around 22,000 in total, 22,000 employees in total. Quick note from Phil Spencer here. As they move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy with an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure, that's your red flag, that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we are aligned on the best opportunities for growth. And then he goes into, they've made the unfortunate decision to lay off 1,900 roles out of 22,000 people in the gaming divisions that we stated earlier. On top of this, Blizzard president Mike Ybarra decided to leave the company. And as many of you know, previously spent more than 20 years at Microsoft. Now that he's seen the acquisition through as Blizzard's president, he's decided to leave the company. So he worked at Microsoft, went to Blizzard, now he's out. Microsoft plans to name a new Blizzard president, and then Blizzard had previously announced a survival game that was also canceled as part of the changes. That is the TLDR of this article here. Just for some reference here, Microsoft completed its $68.7 billion of Activision Blizzard back in October after 20 months of going through regulation hassles. This is a huge deal. Three of us in actually on this panel here know of one individual that was affected that we all, spoke with at some point in time. I won't name any names because it's not really relevant to the thing here, but it's just say like people we know personally were impacted by this whole thing.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, and I feel this one stung more than the Twitch one, I think.
Yeah. So one thing I will say, with the amount of people that Microsoft let go, the cost that the combined amount of salaries that they're letting go is the cost of what is it? Like 3 times how much they paid just Bobby Kotick to go away.
Okay. Unfortunately,
I love CEOs. Are my favorite people. Oh my god!
Unfortunately, I have to play devil's advocate on that thing because they keep bringing up the Bobby Kotick thing. Bobby Kotick got paid, X amount of millions of dollars or whatever to leave. He was entitled to that money no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
He was entitled to it. It was in his contractual agreement. He owned the shares of that company that they gave him. He owned those shares. Microsoft, in order to take over and get him out of there, had to pay him out, or he worked at Microsoft and kept his shares. Either way, he got paid. There was no escaping that.
Yeah, they had to give rid of him one way or another.
It's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But there's only 2 evils here. One is lesser than the other. We either pay a fortune to get him out at the cost of other revenues to get him out of there, or he stays working on Blizzard at Microsoft and keeps his shares anyway. So they keep bringing this up, but unfortunately, like, it is not something we could have avoided.
Yeah.
Here's some other things I'm going to shed some light on here, and then you guys can chime in.
Yeah, I do have one very interesting note that I want to bring on the Microsoft thing because
well, go with your note, and then we'll see where I go with it.
Okay, so shortly after that, people were referencing Iwata. Iwata was the CEO of Nintendo. In the years up until he died. He was when the 3DS and the Nintendo Wii U were struggling, and this is just before the Nintendo Switch came out, and people pointed out that when Nintendo was struggling, the CEO and executives took a major pay cut in order to retain their staff, and people said, "Oh well, here's a great leader. Oh look how awesome that is." But the thing is, though, some people didn't actually quite know that in Japan, they actually have a labor law where if your company is really struggling and seeking and getting closer to bankruptcy, the very first thing that you have to do before you start doing major layoffs, because they actually have laws to kind of prevent layoffs from major companies, is for the CEOs, the people at the top, to take major pay cuts before they let people go.
I was going to bring this up.
Okay.
But no. Thank you. This is one of the things that was driving me. And I made the same comment in our Discord ourselves. I was like, yeah, he was one of the special ones. Now, again, looking into it more, yes, you're right. Like, Japan has very strict labor laws. Like, layoffs can't occur unless the company's in drastic straits, basically near bankruptcy, which Nintendo was in nowhere near.
Yeah.
They
made a lot of money from the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, they made a fortune off the Nintendo Wii.
And the DS.
And the 3DS and the DS. Like, those were still lucrative things. But, yes, so is Iwata a saint? I don't know. I don't know the guy. But from what I read and understand and I've read about Iwata, he was a fairly good guy.
Yeah.
But,
probably amongst a lot of, bad CEOs. I wouldn't exactly say that maybe he's perfect, but at the same time, though, I would much rather have Iwata, president of, insert, a controversial game company, as opposed to whoever they have, where they just keep all the money at the top, and the moment they're like, we don't exactly have money, but at the same time, I make $300 million a year, and I don't want to make less than that. So we're just gonna get rid of 500 employees. Please go away.
So let's bring this back to
Yeah.
the Microsoft thing here. And this is another thing people miss, and I can kind of see why, because a majority of these people that, are entering the workforce and want to work in this industry and stuff like that are fairly young. We're talking 25 to 30-year-old, right? Fairly young. One thing you will learn throughout like your corporate careers, if you do get into the corporate career life, is acquisitions almost always lead to layoffs, because there becomes a redundancy of workforce. It's shitty. I don't condone any of this. I'll put that out there now. Like, do I think this is right? No, not at all. I do think it's wrong that it happens, but this is what happens. There becomes a redundancy in workforce, and you find out that you have all these duplicate positions that no longer needed. Be it programming, community management and all stuff. And I'm going to jump on the community management thing in a minute here, because it seems to be an interesting trend. But there's always a reduction of workforce when these mergers happen. The people that were out there saying like, oh yeah, like Microsoft should totally buy Blizzard, that would be great for everyone, da 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 da. I can understand why they were saying it, because like the stuff that was happening at Activision and everything was a shit show. And those workers did deserve better. But I said it here on this pod, I do not think that they should merge. This buyout should not happen, because I know what happens. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I know what happens. It should not happen. But this community of bandwagon people that are like, oh yeah, I love Xbox, they should buy Activision. That would be great for Xbox, because yeah, green box on my desk. Fuck yeah. Fuck Team Sony, blah, blah, blah. Like, that mentality is retarded. Sorry. It's just not normal. But like, that merger should have not happened, because it leads to stuff like this. I knew this was happening as soon as the merger was going to happen, which I knew the merger was eventually going to go through. There is too much money to be made for them to let that slip by. You know what I mean? They would have gone through every avenue possible to make that merger happen. There was too much money to be made. So it's unfortunate. 1,900 people across, the gaming division at Microsoft. And can't dedicate more time to this here, but we also have the people at Riot, which is also very, very unfortunate. Riot has laid off upwards of 500 jobs across their divisions in the company. The gaming industry is just fucked right now.
Yeah, it's a dark place. It's probably fucked. I mean, and this is just coming off like the heels of like one of the best years of just a major influx of all of these like really awesome games that came out in the last year, and then just after that, just like just layoff after layoff. Apparently, we're not even done with January. We've already have reached like half the amount of layoffs in the gaming industry as we hit last year. So we're already halfway.
The January thing is not a complete surprise, because quarterly numbers come, like year-end numbers and all that stuff, and they start the budgets for the new year. So the idea is you reduce all the workforce, you make your cost and your profitability look good for the new year at this time of the month, and that unfortunately leads to cutting the jobs and stuff like that, and being like, hey, we've cut this much workforce. Look how much profitability we can gain now from this. It's fucked. It's a really fucked way to handle things. It's basically it's like cooking numbers to make yourself look great at the cost of the individuals that are making the product. It's really, really fucked. But if you look at how like this stuff works and you kind of pay attention to it, and like, I can understand why, the streamer community or, anyone that is at a work level where they are not at the C-suite, but you can understand, you work in it enough, you understand how it works, and you know what to prepare for, and you know what to look out for. It's unfortunate, but like, none of this stuff really, really surprises me. As soon as that merger happened, like, it was going to be fucked. But it's the idea is, what's interesting to me, and I've noticed this here, and I don't know if it's a bubble or what it is, but if you look at a lot of the layoffs that occurred, a lot of them were like community manager positions. community. I'm looking at it all through Twitter. Oh, I'm looking, I'm in the market for community management or, social media management or anything along those lines. A lot of those were those jobs. Now what do I see with that whole thing? And it's, again, this is all unfortunate. I don't condone any of this. I think it's unfortunate and I feel really bad for these individuals that have lost their jobs. I've been there. It sucks. But what I've noticed with this thing is these companies, and I think it's more like I'm not a show for these companies, I'm just as critical of anything about them, is what I've noticed is all these companies during the pandemic, they gambled on increase in product or increase in demand, and they overhired to compensate for that with no exit plan once the pandemic wind down. Twitch hired a bunch of staff, built up to support the streamer boom during the pandemic. Google did the same thing for work from home. We saw it from video gaming companies, Citrix, VMware, all these companies that provided work from home solutions for people. Like, they all invested in this work from home boom.
I mean, if you think about it, back in 2020, how many actual professional athletes became like full-time Twitch streamers?
Right, exactly.
It was crazy.
Or anyone that couldn't do their regular careers, in adult industry and stuff alike.
Yeah, because we didn't know how long. Sorry, what was that, Morgan?
Sorry, voice actors also.
Yeah.
Yes, voice actors were doing the exact same thing because nobody knew how long we were going to be in this forum, and there was no real plan or like very well put together plan for when we were done, because
no exit plan.
There was nothing that could have prepared us for what we had to do to get through the pandemic and then what happens after the pandemic. So, and I think just right now we're now seeing the repercussions of everything, like all the major decisions that was made within the industry, and it's unfortunate. But I'm also kind of hoping that with all the layoffs within the industry, that we do see more gaming studios pop up with some of the employees that were let go, because there's so much talent that is now out there that are free to do whatever, and hopefully whoever's got some deep pockets can put something together so that we can see new studios come up with, so that we can keep those very talented game designers employed, so that hopefully we can see something, or at least companies that are far more ethical and more focused on retaining their employees instead of letting them go, especially now that we're not really using COVID policies for when it comes to the hiring process.
We've gotten past the state of emergency COVID era of the world now at this point. And I do agree. It will correct itself. A lot of these people will probably end up back where they were at some point. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, they
get
might
laid
even just
off.
go back to the jobs. Who knows?
Yeah, a lot of these people will end up going back to where they were working because they get hired back, and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is just to correct and look good for a certain period of time, and then they correct itself, right? But here's the crazy going back to this the community management. I was like, you think there was an influencer bubble? Do you think we had an influencer bubble? Because I certainly think we do.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
So like I said, a lot of these layoffs were community managers, partner managers, social media managers, and all this kind of stuff. Their basic tasks were to keep the community and the influencers and everybody happy, right, and informed, and get their products out to these people. I think every company overinvested in influencer culture. Look at TikTok. TikTok's basically become QVC now because everyone is selling a product on there. All these companies are, working very, very hard to get these big time streamers and stuff to invest in their game and play their game and expose, their game to their large audiences. But now that stuff is kind of, the influencer thing. It's crazy how the influencer thing, I think, is starting to get on people's nerves. I think people are getting over influencer lifestyle for a little bit. And social media exposure and stuff like that. I think people themselves are starting to get corrected and be like, you know what, this is getting kind of ridiculous. And I wouldn't be surprised if that had an effect on a lot of those jobs.
Yeah, because
possibly.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
what was that, Morgan?
Oh, that's all I was just saying is I was agreeing as a possibility.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't need a community manager for every game your company puts out. You know,
No, not
and
really.
and it's hard.
I
Like
mean, it's nice, but it's not required, especially if it just sells on its own, right?
yeah.
So, like I would say that probably what we're experiencing is now that a lot of people are now getting out of the house, doing other things, getting back to some kind of like normalcy. I mean, I'm not going to really get into like the whole subculture of because COVID still does exist,
Mm-hmm.
and I have people that still have been getting sick from it, but at the same time though, I think just that kind of stuff with the influencers, or like just what was generally kind of like popular during the pandemic is kind of like burnt out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a bubble that's
now,
bursted, I think.
yeah, so like now people have to rethink content. People have to rethink, all right, so what do I want to do to entertain myself, and am I even interested, or do I even want to be on my device to begin with anyway? I want to get outside.
Yeah.
So
There was something so therapeutic about not streaming games and then just playing by myself in my room. Like, there was something so therapeutic about it, and it was nice.
no.
And it was like a welcome, like, change of pace from what everything
Yeah.
had been for the past couple of years before that.
You know what's actually crazy is I know a lot of people that once the pandemic was over, a lot of people that I know stopped streaming,
Yeah.
even if they were streamers like even before the pandemic, and now they're just they're done. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm out here just like, holy shit, I want to stream even more, but I just don't have the energy or the time to. I'm a fucking weird anomaly, I guess, but
And it's hard to say this, or it's not hard to say, but it's hard to, for the people out there that are suffering this whole thing. The best, I think, advice I can give for this whole thing, because I get it, like some people lost their dream job. They had their dream job and then they were let go from it because of, unfortunate management positions and unfortunate management decisions. And that's bad. That's rough and that's terrible. But I think the best advice I can give to those individuals is it's not always a reflection of your work. A lot of layoffs and stuff like that aren't directly a reflection of your work unless you were a horrible employee. And you were made aware you were a horrible employee and then they laid you off. That's a different story. But a good chunk of these are just people that were an unfortunate draw of numbers. This department has X percent. We have to reduce it down to X percent. And it's not necessarily a reflection of your work. The best advice I can give is mourn the loss of your dream job that you had, but take that experience that you built and you learned and everything and all the memories you had working at that job and use it as a, how do I word this? Use it as a selling point for your next gig. Mark it as an accomplishment in your career. Like, I worked here, I made it here. I did it for I did it for X amount of years. Unfortunately, due to cuts, I'm no longer there. But, it was an experience. I learned a lot there. Now I'm ready to take the next step. Like, use it as a cornerstone in your career and progress forward. And that's going to be a lot. Like, it's going to be hard for that. But I've been through the block a couple times. I went through the whole 2008 housing crash. I got out of college during the housing boom or the housing crash in 2008. That was fucking rough. I've been through layoffs. I've been through all of it. And you learn and you grow from it. It's not a reflection of your work and what you do. It's just unfortunate decisions that were made and you got caught in the crossfire. But you take it, you learn from it, and you go on to your next career. And I know a lot of these people are hurting because a lot of them are young and it's their first experience with this. It's their first experience with getting laid off. You'll grow from it. You'll get back up and you will move forward. And, the job market sucks right now, but just do not give up on yourself. Mm-hmm. You will find the next gig, and then the next gig may be so fruitful and rewarding that your blip at, Microsoft or Xbox or whatever will just be a blip in your career. The next thing just became greener grass. So you learn a lot. You learn a lot through this whole thing, and it's unfortunate. I feel for, the 2,000 people we just rattled off here 3,000 people here that we rattled off that lost their jobs this year. But it's unfortunate. I feel for you out there, and a lot of these companies really need to. A lot of these companies really need to fucking reevaluate their shit, and there does need to be some kind of regulations in place for this kind of stuff. But we're just not in that position where we can allow it to happen. Like, we're gonna allow that to happen. It's unfortunate. If you really, really want to make a voice in this industry and you're really, really against this type of shit, become a shareholder, buy shares, voice your opinion. You can sit in on those shareholder calls and all that kind of stuff and really voice your opinion. If you own shares, you own part of that company. If you really want your voice heard, own shares.
Yep.
And as tough as that sounds, and as tough as it's going to sound, but like, you're going up against a group of people that aren't necessarily going to agree with what you want to say. It's a real fuck state of mind we have right now. Late stage capitalism is real shit, and we're all suffering from it.
Yep. Hooray for capitalism.
It's going to fuck us all. Don't worry. We're all going down in the ship together, guys. Like,
yeah. Well,
we're all going to burn.
All I can really do is, regardless of whatever state we're in, it doesn't exactly sit well to like think, what, the ship is sinking, may as well go down within, may as well just keep bailing out whatever water you're in and see what happens.
Yeah,
because I mean,
focus focus on yourselves, like, out there. Focus on yourselves, your work ethic, your career, what you want to do, and always strive to make yourself a valuable employee the best you can, because that's what will keep you working. And that's it sounds cruel, and I know it sounds cruel, but there is some logic behind it, whereas, like, as long as you keep working and improving yourself and keep expanding your knowledge and your career and all that stuff and your accomplishments, you will always be considered a valuable employee somewhere.
Yeah, be flexible, be open-minded, be not unafraid to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And see where life takes you, as long as you just keep putting in the hard work. But at the same time, don't let yourself be taken advantage of, because that is one thing that's probably kept me from probably being somewhere else and where I am in life is I just refuse to be in like a position or a lifestyle where I just feel constantly being taken advantage of or underappreciated. So yeah, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I mean, obviously, like, it's a reality, because it doesn't matter what kind of like a corporation you work for, you're always going to be underappreciated and just another small cog in the machine that makes the CEO's money. But you got to do what you got to do, and I'm just trying to have like the most optimistic mindset for it, because either way, life is going to be hard. It's just what you make out of it, and hopefully there's some positive you can take from it to try and push forward and and lay up the foundations that you for hopefully a better future for yourself.
Well said, Zenith. Any insight, Morgan, before we wind down here?
I mean, I would agree with him, honestly. With everything that he said with regard to that, because just like take the experiences that you have, and I mean, like, obviously you've got that as an experience, and you can take that, and even if you don't get called back to that job because like maybe they have positions for you again in the future, then you can at least take those experiences and apply them to either your next job or, like if you start something up yourself, because like you have that knowledge now that you can, use and whatnot.
I like to look at it as you're sad because you worked at, Activision, but someone out there is going to be very fucking excited that you worked at Activision and they want to see what you can do with them. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because like even if you're someone that worked for Bobby Kotick, like, does it exactly mean that you are Bobby Kotick?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at the end of the day, there's something that you get to bring that's unique, that's valuable, that people will recognize that value and will be more than happy to have the skills and experiences that you applied, even if I mean, hell, like people that What was that last controversial game that came out that was like taken down within like 5 days of being released? Like even
you
those
talking
people,
about that? Yeah, the one that copied or they like faked a bunch of shit and then like didn't,
yeah, like Left Behind or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Didn't release the shit anything.
Oh.
Yeah, so like even those developers, like even though like the company shut down, they probably still have like a future in-game design.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Just obviously whoever decided to, you know, kind of like scam well, whoever was in charge of pulling the wool over their consumers' eyes probably will not be able to find a job in the position that he was previously in. But then again, like that person probably might have you know, like a cushy little seat somewhere if someone's looking to hire like a janitor for the game studio, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an upside. It's still a
Can you
job.
imagine?
Could
Can
clean
you
the
imagine?
toilets because while you're at it,
No.
while you're shoving all the shit down their throats.
You imagine? You imagine that guy? Yeah, boss, I cleaned the toilets. He goes in there. You didn't clean shit. That guy, they same
Yeah, the
scenario.
only shit that I not only is there shit coming out of your mouth, there's shit still in the toilet. Do your damn job.
Good luck to all of you out there. You know, we're feeling for you. We support you. Good luck. You'll bounce back. Just a shitty time, but you'll bounce back. On that note, that is the end of the show for today. Kind of a long one, despite only the three of us. But some updates here. We have the next episode coming. We are going to shift the schedule. The pods are going to be on the 2nd and 4th week of the month now. So the next scheduled stream is actually going to be episode 32 is going to be on February 10th.
Oh, that's actually 2 weeks from now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you double check with Evers to make sure that matches
Did I
up
do
with
the
schedule?
calendar wrong again? Because it's the 10th and the 24th for February. Well, February is a short month.
Yeah.
10th and 24th, and then we go to the 2nd, which would technically be the first week.
Yeah.
That's tentative. I'm going to mark that as tentative. It could change.
Yeah. Yeah, I would at Evers tonight to like say, hey, what date works for you, the 3rd or the 10th, and then go from there.
Yeah, we'll get that thing because then we got to start her on that. We're gonna cycle that schedule around that. So so keep a lookout for that. The schedule will change shortly here, and we're gonna readjust. We're still gonna give you your bi-weekly streams. They'll just be at different points in the month.
Yeah.
That being said, that's up with Good Friends, Good Games. We have new clips up on TikTok, YouTube, YouTube Shorts, or what's the other one? Instagram Reels, ! Social media. You could throw that up there. ! Social media. Dun, dun, dun. You got it, Zena? There you go. They had
I
the
work
angry
hard,
face.
I promise.
You work hard. You got it. ! Social media. You can check out those new clips. We got some more coming for you. We just edited another one last night. And then for myself, I'm going to start a new show. We're going to start a new show. It's going to be called Back to the Backlog, where you can go watch me on the Eric Anthony channel, stream my backlog. I'm not going to start over on any of the games. Like there's a bunch of games.
Let's go.
Yep. I'm looking at mid-February. Probably going to be Wednesday evenings around 5:30 p.m. Pacific. That's not in stone yet, but I'm working out a schedule. I'm thinking that's going to be the day, Wednesday evenings. It'll be once a week. You can catch the show once a week. You can watch me tackle this backlog. I don't intend on starting anything. I don't intend on starting anything over unless it's really, really bad and I don't know where I'm at. But most of it's just going to be me like jumping back in and seeing where I'm at in the game and be like, okay, we got to figure this all out again. It's stuff like that's going to be the fun of it. So yeah, keep an eye out on that. That's going to be over on the Eric Anthony channel, and then I will upload the streams over to the Good People channel on YouTube, so you can catch them there. And then we got some stuff coming here. We're going to work on another Baldur's Gate playthrough. The next segment of that. I have other show ideas in my head, which we got to work out with the team. And then we're also going to try and work out some guest segments here on the pod. We're going to try to get those rolling.
Talk to me about that afterwards.
I will do my best. We got to get out of here pretty soon, but I will talk to you this weekend for sure.
Sounds good.
But other than that, that's what we got going on. So tentative is looking like February 10th. We will have a set in stone date for you soon for the next podcast. And then this has been Good Friends, Good Games. This is Morgan. This is Zenith. And this is myself, Eric Anthony. We appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with us. You guys are fantastic. And we will catch you again soon.